Welcome back to the channel. This is Trinity Storm and you're watching third part of What If Naruto Became Demonic Nemesis. If you enjoy this video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
Our hero was soundly sleeping in bed the following morning, not a care in the world. Kira had determined that they ought to spend the night unwinding after his training concluded the previous day. She had advised them to savor the silence because the next 2 weeks would be spent alone together. Naruto had never tasted a meal so delicious, and Kira had even taught him how to make it. For once, he had a calm, quiet, and steady life. Now there was a person present. The names that were hurled at him now went unanswered, and the glares were almost non-existent. For the first time in his life, Naruto could genuinely say he was happy, and all because of a demon. He couldn't believe it, no matter how many times he told himself. Thus, content in his liminal space between fantasy and reality. That is, until his body, which was finely tuned, signaled for him to wake up. Despite all of his newfound skills and knowledge, Naruto was unable to convince his transformed body to sleep. He started to get out of his cozy bed, thinking, crap. Why is it that I can never win this? Well, time to get moving. Training doesn't do itself. But then he felt a weight on his arm. Huh? My pillow isn't this heavy, he thought to himself as he moved his finger to feel his hand again and heard a faint groan. In his hand, he also felt something round and soft. Glancing down, he saw Kira curled up on his arm, her gorgeous hair fanning out beneath her, her perfect skin blushing just a little, her left breast warm against his hand. Naruto's mind momentarily stopped working upon this realization. In less than a second after gathering himself, Naruto was across the room and leaning against the wall, blushing more than Hinata had ever seen while he struggled mightily to mumble an apology. Kira, on the other hand, was just perplexed. She was warm and comfortable one moment, and nearly thrown 10 feet into the air the next. Not how a woman prefers to start her day. Kira, looking innocent, rubbed her eyes and said drowsily, Naruto. Kun, what's the matter? I thought you usually took to waking up slowly in the morning. You almost threw me off the bed. I'm sore. Rai. I didn't me. And to two. Chu Li. K that, ISWE. AR. It was an exceed. Wait, what are you doing in my bed? Kira, slightly blushing, replied, well, after we returned from the compound last night, you went to bed while I took a shower. 13 years in a sewer can make you feel a little grimy. When I was done, you were already asleep. And since we weren't doing the Kage Bunshin training last night, I didn't need to return to the seal, so I just decided to lay down next to you. Kira knew exactly why Naruto was still breaking out in cold sweats. That damned, bitchy, pink haired little, she has him thinking all girls are foaming at the mouth over these kinds of things. Next chance I get, I'm going to knock her oversized forehead right through the ceiling. It's alright, Naruto. Kun. I'm not like the pink haired banshee. I won't hit you unless you meant to be a pervert. Remember what I told Hinata, even I have thoughts like that, so it's no big thing as long as it wasn't intentional, Kira said, trying not to giggle the entire time. Her voice was gentle and soothing, like that of a mother comforting her child. His face was sad as he watched Kira giggle. Is this really my life now? Can I really be this happy? Will the village let me? Or is it just some trick of fate, bring me up just to let me fall again? Maybe that Neji guy was right and fate is against me? Kira, why are you doing all this for me? I just don't get it. Shouldn't you hate me? I am the reason that you were trapped and made to live in that sewer. When she realized what he had said, she couldn't help but grumble. So, even after all our time together, he still doubts that he can be happy, he even thinks that I could hate him. I don't blame him. What with how he's been treated in life, because of me I should be the one being hated. Those damn villagers have him all screwed up. Naruto. Kun, I could never hate you. It wasn't your fault, we are going to be together forever. My soul and yours are intertwined. If I had wanted to, I could have just saved your life that night to save mine and then returned to my cell, but I wanted to know you. I wanted to meet you and see what kind of person you were. After teaching you, speaking with you, and being with you, I began to feel like I had found a friend, that maybe this wasn't the curse I had thought at first. Naruto was mentally beating the living daylights out of himself and on the verge of tears. Naruto then approaches Kira, who is still sitting in bed and staring down at the sheets, saying, "I'm an idiot." She's one of the first people to ever recognize me, and I do to her what's been done to me. All Kira has ever done is help and care for me. She's my family. She's my Kira-chan. He approaches her side and slowly extends his arms to encircle her, pausing to make sure she won't pull away. She leans into his chest, much to his surprise. He then gently but firmly puts his arms around her once more. They sat there appreciating the fact that they have someone for a very long time. "I'm sorry, Kira-chan. It's just so hard to believe what has happened in my life over the last few days. I'm so used to having nothing, forced to scrounge for things, being hated and having no one there with me. Being all alone, but now, I have everything I ever wanted. I have Iruka. Sensei, San, my new apartment, and training that has put me closer to my dream than ever before. I even have friends now in Hinata and Tenten, and best of all, I now know who my mother is and, I have you now, too," said Naruto, gently pressing Kira. He did. Kira did not do more than look into his eyes for a brief moment, seeing every emotion concealed from the public view. She knew what they had right then. Nobody had ever laid eyes on him. The eyes of a young man before his time, who had witnessed more than his eyes should have ever been allowed to see. More than she could have imagined, to be trusted enough to allow the whole of his mask to fall. She simply grinned and sank even deeper into Naruto's arms, beaming with contentment. "I will never leave you, Naruto-kun, ever." Before 5 o'clock in the morning, Kira and Naruto were stretching before starting their morning run together outside the village walls. Right up until they realized they had to start their training, they had remained in each other's arms. They reluctantly parted from the warmth of each other to face the day. But now that people would be waiting on them, all they could think about was their training and keeping to their schedule. "Kira-chan, why are you going to run with me? I thought since your body was originally one of my cage bunshin that it couldn't get anything from exercise?" replied Naruto. Kira, striking a pose that made Naruto blush, said, "You're right, Naruto-kun, I can't improve the physique of this body. Not that it needs it. I'm not doing this for the exercise. Every time this body is dispelled and summoned, I will become just as physically trained as you, but my mind didn't receive any of the benefits yours did. In essence, I'm the exact opposite of you for the cage bunshin training. What is that supposed to mean, Kira-chan? Remember that the training is only a shortcut to help you learn things faster and that you still need to do the training exercises yourself to finish it? That way you get the physical benefits of the work." "Yes," a visibly perplexed Naruto replied. "Well, I'm the opposite. I get all the benefits of the physical training you do, but I don't get the knowledge you do. That means that every night while I'm sorting the knowledge from the cage bunshin, I will be studying it to see what I can use myself and what I can't. So the reason I'm running with you is that I need to do everything you do, but for different reasons. You train to improve your body. I train to get my mind used to working a human body, and we both will be learning from the cage bunshin at night. Does that mean that we will know all the same things and techniques? That will be great. We will be unbeatable together." "No, because I use pure Yuki, there are some human techniques that I can't do, such as create medical chakra. I also won't be able to use elemental jutsu, well, at least mostly, and eventually neither will you for that matter." "What do you mean by that? Why would you and I not be able to use elemental jutsu?" Kira lets out a long sigh. "I know he won't like this. I wasn't planning on telling you this until later. Naruto-kun, Yuki is a very different energy than chakra. It doesn't make a difference when using non-elemental jutsu such as bunshin, but because demons are in essence elemental spirits, we have elements that oppose us. Like fire and water. In other words, you are aligned to certain elements and will not be able to use elements outside of those because our bodies will literally recognize it as a natural enemy or opposite." Wow, I really wasn't expecting something like this. How can I advance as a ninja with something like this happening? The number of jutsu one knows is kind of important. I know having mastered your favorite is more important, but something like this will really limit my jutsu library, said Naruto in a pose of thought. It's not that bad, Naruto-kun. The elements that you will belong to will come to you naturally, and we will eventually be able to bend those elements to our will without hand seals. The jutsu that are of the same element that you are aligned with will be second nature, and you will most likely have more than one element as well. Remember the stories about me causing earthquakes and tsunamis with a swing of my tails? Replied Kira. Does that mean that your elements are earth and water? Wait a second, I thought you were a demon of fire? All the legends I ever heard of you said so. No, I'm not, that only came about because of the color of my fur being orange. Red, and that I always used my Foxfire instead of my elements. Because my Yuki is red, so is my fire. Just like yours is a darker blue color. The only Biju of fire are the 6 and 2 tails. Well, I suppose the 5 tails as well, but he's something special. I also never really used my elements much, because they always changed the landscape too much. I hated to destroy the land in a fight. A flood or earthquake takes millennia to recover from, but a fire is restored in a few hundred years. My Foxfire was more easily controlled and could be used precisely, reducing the damage. Well, that explains that. So what are my elements anyway? That way I know what I can and can't learn. 20 questions today? Replied Kira with a smirk. Naruto grumbled, your body is still changing, Naruto-kun. We won't be able to tell what all your elements are until later, but I know for sure that one of them is K's, wind. But, I think that it would be better to focus on your taijutsu and other abilities until your body settles and we know for sure what your elements are. I guess this gives me a reason to focus on what I already have started on. So why is it that you can't learn medial jutsu again? To put it simply, it's too late for me to learn it. Your power is still maturing, and because of that, it's adapting to being used for healing chakra. If you had waited even 6 months to start your medical training, it would have been too late for you as well. As long as you continue practicing it on a regular basis, you will always be able to use it. For me though, it's several thousand years too late to even try to make my Yuki that flexible. Well, I suppose that makes sense. How long will it take for my energy to settle, Kira-chan? Inquired Naruto, who was giddy with anticipation at the prospect of controlled elemental bending. I can't wait. I will have an even bigger advantage over other ninja. If I were to guess, I would have to say based on your healing rate, 4 to 8 months until your chakra has completely changed to Yuki and you begin your accession to a full demon begins. What does my healing have to do with it, Kira-chan? How do I explain this one? Do you remember how I said that when the changes to your body happened that the Yuki mostly acted on its own and I only reformed your circulatory system and senses? Of course, I probably have gone over that once a day since you told me all of it. I only really began to understand all of it later. Her eyes were slightly irritated. Well, you always had your healing factor because of me being sealed inside of you. When the change happened, your healing was just supercharged from all the Yuki released into your system, and then it began to change and improve your body to survive the stress. That process is still happening even now. Think of it as your body evolving slowly as a way of adapting to whatever is happening to you. First you went through one big evolutionary jump to ensure your survival of the Yuki, then many smaller ones to finish it off. Naruto hung his head and said, everything with me has to be so complicated, doesn't it? Kira said, grinning and giggling. Well, I think that's enough class for today, Naruto-kun. We can continue to confuse you when the next thing comes up. Now I want you to take half of your chakra and create as many Kage Bunshin as you can, then I'll tell you our new schedule for the last few weeks of our training. As Naruto goes through the hand seals, he immediately starts to concentrate his chakra. A massive cloud of smoke lifted, revealing hundreds of Kage Bunshin. Kira uses her Dojutsu to quickly count everyone present before starting to distribute the Bunshin's orders. There it is again. She said it was a Dojutsu like the Byakugan and that I have it too. I really want to know what it can do, but I know that if Kira-chan thought that I was ready, she would have told me. I will have to wait. But I wonder how it can help her count my Bunshin like that, was all Naruto could think as he noticed her eyes glowing slightly once more. Impressive, 300 exactly, Naruto-kun. I'm surprised. I honestly didn't think you had come this far in your control yet. When you pulled this on Mizuki Teme, you used 75% of your chakra and only created a little over 150 with how lousy your control was before. Kira replied with a smile. Naruto scratched the back of his neck and said, yeah, I know. I'm the best. Just wait, I'll be Hokage before you know it. Kira merely rolled her eyes before turning to face the assembled Bunshin and giving them orders by gesturing to different groups. Alright. First off, I want you 50 to take the medical scrolls and pick up where you left off. Next, I want you 30 to take this copy of the Juken Kata scroll and commit them to memory as you go through the Kata. You 5 work on mastering Bunshin, you 5 Henge, you 5 Kawarimi, you 20 Shuriken Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, you 20 Bakuretsu Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, you 5 Kage Shuriken no Jutsu, and you 10 Kokwangyu no Jutsu. Now I know that each of you can only make 3 to 5 more Kage Bunshin each before you reach the limit of how many times your soul piece can split, but I want you 100 to practice creating Kage Bunshin and regular Bunshin at the same time while mixing them. It will be hard, but will be worth it. This will be a very effective strategy against anyone without significant experience or some kind of Dojutsu that can see chakra. Lastly, I would like you 50 to just continue working on mastering your senses, chakra control, and just how your body generally works. So screw around and see what works. Naruto was utterly stunned. Kira had just given his Bunshin the keys to almost everything he wished to learn or master. Damn Kira. Chan, do you really think we can work on all that at once? Of course Naruto. Kun, you won't be absorbing all the training they do at once. You will be going to bed by 8 o'clock every night for the next week or so. That way, I will have plenty of time to sort through the information to see what I can use, and make sure you can adjust it. Hopefully, I will be getting a few hours of sleep for myself in the process. With a painful looking head rub, Naruto uttered, I'm a little confused, Kira. Chan, but I really don't need to know, now do I? Let's start our run before we run behind schedule. You can tell me our new training schedule while we're running. Sure Naruto. Kun, and don't worry. The confusing stuff should be over for a while. As you already know, first off. 5 AM. 6 AM. We run as many laps around the village as we can in this hour. We're doing this to improve our speed and just to understand our bodies better. We can also use this time to figure out new combos and techniques if you like. 6 AM. 8 AM. We will use this time by alternating between punching and clawing a log just as before. As the dolphin said, try to increase these numbers daily. 8 AM. 9 AM. We will train with each other until the dolphin arrives in our special abilities, such as Kitsunbai and whatever else we can think of. 9 AM. 11 AM. Ninjutsu training. We will practice whatever the Kage Bunshin have done so far with the dolphin's help. You and he will have to help me as well. 11 AM. 12 PM. You will work on your medical jutsu, while I try to catch up to you in the basics with the dolphin's help. 12 PM. 1 PM. This will be lunchtime for us. 1 PM. 2 PM. This time will be for you and me to redo the chakra control exercises, and when I say redo them, I mean starting with the leaf exercise all the way to your medial exercises. As you know, after this you are to be at the Hyuga compound to begin your Juken training. So from 2 PM to 6 PM, I will return to the seal to review what I've done for the day. 6 PM. 8 PM, you will summon me so I can continue working with Hinata while you do your laundry duties. And, that's my plan for us up until team assignments. From what I can figure, this should give us enough time to finish mastering those jutsu as well as the medical knowledge, but we will need to go over everything with the Hokage after the 2 weeks are up to ensure that we have everything done and maybe get his ideas for other training. Naruto's jaw is loose as he continues to run. How can you think up things like that, Kira? Chan? You must be a super genius to figure things like that out. No, Naruto. Kun, you just learn a lot when you've been around as long as me. Now I kind of wish that I had paid more attention to Shinobi, now that I am one. If I had, I would be a lot more useful now. I have seen many things in my life. Some amazing that I hope to share with you someday, and others that I wish that I could just forget. Kira replied with a dull eyes. Before Naruto could comfort Kira, they heard a booming voice that would make them both flinch instinctively for years to come. I can't imagine what she's seen in her life. From what I can figure from the history she told me, she must be at least 7,000 years old. She must have seen things I can't even dream of. Ali, these two have a burning passion for youth to be training so diligently so early on this beautiful morning. Shouted an odd man. He had on orange leg warmers, green spandex, and a Konoha Hittai. 8 belt. He also wore the traditional unzipped Junin vest. He had the biggest eyebrows you could ever imagine and his black hair was cut in a bowl shape. And lastly, he had tan skin and a great build. The tight spandex made it obvious to everyone that he was built. Even though they were all hoping they couldn't. A boy who appeared to be a younger version of the first, save for the Juken vest being absent, screamed next to the man. Yosh, Guy. Sensei. Their flames of youth are burning brightly. I will strive to rival their flames of youth. The two simply scared the living daylights out of Kira and Naruto, who are now corresponding via their mental link in an attempt to find a way out. In complete shock and perspiration, Naruto thought of Kira. Kira. Chan. What the fucking hell are those things? Those eyebrows look alive. Super eyebrows even. Kira then took up position behind Naruto, trembling a little. I don't know, Naruto. Kun. In all my millennia, I have never seen such a disturbing thing. I'm scared. Let's get out of here. Kira exclaimed. Why are you hiding behind me? You're the Demon Lord. What does that have to do with this? I don't know, but if I focus on them my brain will fry. The green couple went on for what seemed like forever about youth and something about springtime, until the older one noticed Kira and Naruto's terrified expressions and, in a bizarre turn of events, he made the decision to introduce himself. Oh, I am sorry for the scare. My name is Maida Guy, and this is my youthful student Rock Lee. I know that our youthfulness is quite overwhelming to some people. Replied Guy. Yosh, Guy. Sensei. I too apologize for scaring you, but we seldom see others with the youthfulness to be training as early as we do. Said the newly minted Lee. K. Less weird now but still freaky as all get out. Alright, Kira. Chan. As soon as I tell you to, run as fast as you can. Whatever you say, Naruto. Kun. Just get us out of here or else I'm frying their asses Konoha ninja or not. Well, thank you for the introduction and subsequent heart attack. My name is Uzumaki Naruto and this is Kira. I apologize for having to run, but if we are held up much longer, we will be thrown off our training schedule. I'm sure someone with your youthfulness will understand. Now let's go Kira, run. Naruto said, knowing that this had to end, whether out of some village loyalty or the terrifying thought of a rampaging Kira. That's when Kira and Naruto vanish in a cloud of dust that even dazzles Lee and Guy. Lee exclaimed in amazement, Guy Sensei, those two are as fast as I was last year. Correct, Lee. Those two must have been training hard to reach that level. If they continue, they could be at your level by next year or maybe sooner. I will prove that my flames of youth burn brighter and train even more. Yes, Lee. This is the springtime of youth. Now let us run into the sunset of youth to continue our pursuit of youthfulness. Then, completely oblivious to the fact that it is barely 6 a.m., Lee and Guy run slowly into the ocean sunset that has emerged on the horizon. In actuality, sweat. Damp Hinata bolted from the bed. She looked around her room and realized what had happened, but all she could do was smile bittersweetly to herself while she considered it. So, it was another dream? At least I know that there's nothing wrong with me now. I always thought I was a bad person for thinking about Naruto. Kun like that. If it wasn't for Naruto. Kun asking Kira Chan to talk to me about it, I would still think like that, but now, I want to try these ideas. Then Hinata got off the bed. She became aware of the rather large stain on her nightgown and in her bed. Not again, I wonder if that book Kira Chan had me look at with her is the reason for this? Before, it only happened every once in a while. I better sneak my sheets and gown down to the wash before the others are up, or else I will never live down the embarrassment. Hinata quickly jumped into the tree outside her window, dropped her dirty laundry into the other branches, and changed her bed and clothes for the day. I wonder if Kira Chan will come again today. Because of her and Naruto. Kun, I've come closer to my dreams than ever before, and as soon as I can prove to Kira Chan that I'm good enough for Naruto. Kun, she said that she would share him with me. Hinata couldn't help but smile as she strolled around the estate owned by her family and remembered her time spent with Naruto. I always dreamed of Naruto. Kun being all mine, but with Kira Chan around, I have no chance at that, but maybe sharing him will be better. I doubt that I would ever have the strength to tell him how I feel myself, but with Kira Chan there, I will have Naruto. Kun someday. I'll prove that I can be strong for him and won't be a burden, I swear I will. Hinata was thinking with a fire in her eyes. When Hinata finally made it to the training grounds of her clan, she started by learning the first 7 Juken kata so that she would be prepared to assist Naruto when he arrived. She had no idea that Hiyashi was spying on her from his office on the top floor. Hiyashi watched his thought. Weakling daughter attack the poor stump as if she were possessed by the Kyuubi itself. Uzumaki, you are already turning my daughter into the person I knew she could be. I can't wait to see what she will be like when you are done with your training in Juken, Hiyashi exclaimed. If only he were aware of. Later that day, while having lunch at Ichiraku Ramen, Naruto, Kira, and Iruka talked about their training. Well, I have to say, the two of you blew me away today. Naruto, you have everything for your basic training down. You just need experience and to master your jutsu a bit more. I don't know how you did it in only 3 days, but you did. Iruka told a beaming Naruto. As for you, Kira, when the two of you asked me to train you as a shinobi, I thought you were too old to begin training to use chakra. However, you managed to prove me wrong. As far as I can figure, if I focus on training you in your basics for the next week or so, you should be caught up with Naruto in no time. I still can't believe someone that knows as much as you do about chakra has never been trained as a shinobi. Most regular Junin don't have the knowledge you do. Kira gritted her teeth not to call him a dolphin. I just train hard with Naruto. Kun, Iruka. Sensei, she replied. Yes, Kira. Chan truly is the best. There's nothing she can't accomplish, Naruto grinned broadly. After all the Oroku no jutsu he's had to endure, Iruka plans a little retaliation upon hearing this. So, Naruto, I guess that means that you and Kira are a little more than just friends, huh? What are the two of you really? Iruka asks. Naruto simply freezes, unsure of how to reply. Shit. What do I say? I think we are more, but what does Kira Chan think? If I answer wrong, I could get her mad at me. What do I do? This is a no. Win. God damn it, sensei. Tucci and Ayame came over to find out the answer after hearing Iruka's question. What about it, Naruto? Kuin, is she your new girlfriend? Ayame inquired, purposefully using the Kun. While getting Naruto another bowl, Tucci said, yes, I think it would be wonderful if she was. It would be another permanent customer for me, and I may even have to create a lover's lunch special for the two of you. Naruto was stuttering out and blushing profusely. I'm not, I mean, her, I. Kira was giggling a little as she leaned against the counter, taking in Naruto's answers and hearing how he was thinking. He still forgets to close the link when he wants to think to himself, she said, pausing to study Iruka's smug expression. And here I thought Naruto Kun was the prankster. I guess I should end this little game the dolphin is playing and make it bluntly clear what I consider Naruto Kun and me to be. I really don't want to play the same game with him as Hinata Chan, especially after this morning. You would think he would already know? He just doesn't understand basic attraction or emotions yet, I suppose, she said, pausing to glance at Iruka's sneering face. Then, Kira gets up and approaches Naruto while slowly swaying her hips, something that everyone else could see but him. She swiftly turns his stool around and gives him a passionate kiss as soon as she gets to him. Once his shock has subsided, Naruto simply throws his arms around her and collapses into it. The other three people in the stand just stared in shock, their jaws hanging open on the ground. The three of them were thinking the same thing. How did Naruto get such a cute girlfriend? When Kira broke the kiss, she said, I just thought that you needed a little reassurance of what our relationship is. I'll see you at the training ground, Naruto. Kun. Kira then leaves the stand, leaving a very confused Naruto in her wake. Then, in a swift motion befitting Lee, Naruto exits the stand, saying, damn. I'll see you later, Iruka. Sensei. Iruka nodded twice and said, Naruto always keeps things interesting, doesn't he? At the same training ground where they had begun the day, Kira and Naruto are seen wrapping up their training just before 1 o'clock later that day. Naruto asked, holding a blade of grass in his hand with a precise chakra flow, so, Kira Chan, I was wondering. Could you at least tell me what this Dojutsu is supposed to do, or is it something that needs to wait until we begin training with it? I suppose not, as long as you promise not to mess with it without me saying you're ready. We don't need you going blind, now do we? Asked Kira with a wry grin. Of course, I'm just curious, that's all. If you say to wait, then of course I will. Alright then, you better sit down for this. It's going to take a while for you to understand all of this. Besides, you've earned a break. Naruto approaches the closest tree and takes a seat next to it in the shade. He fumbles around a bit to settle in before spreading his arms wide. With a sly smile, Kira settles down and rests her head on his chest as he envelops her in his arms. The huge smile on Naruto's face would be obvious to anyone who could see him right now. First off, let me ask you, what do you know about the Byakugan's abilities, since it's the Dojutsu you have had the most contact with? Well, it can see chakra, 360 degrees around the user, through solid objects, the chakra circuit. No, Naruto. Kun, I asked you for the Byakugan's abilities, not everything it's capable of doing. Confusion gripped Naruto. I thought that was what I was telling you, Kira. Chan? All Dojutsu usually only have 2 or 3 abilities. Maybe another one, but it's rare. You see, by combining these few abilities in different ways, a Dojutsu has its multitudes of capabilities. Take the Byakugan for example. It really only has 3 abilities. Its users just combine them in different ways by instinct to create extra capabilities. Its 3 true abilities, however, are to see chakra in all forms, see through solid objects, and finally telescopic vision. Kira, Chan? What exactly does telescopic mean? It means that you can zoom in and out on objects. In other words, you can see things very far away. Now to continue, let me explain how the Byakugan's abilities combine to produce all of its powers. The Hyuga use the ability to see through solid objects, or X. Ray vision, to look through their own heads to have 360-degree vision. It's kind of creepy, but it works. They see through genjutsu by seeing the chakra that makes it up. If you can see the chakra for the illusion, then it's basically useless since they know what's going on. Even though they can't dispel the genjutsu with their eyes, they can always tell when it's being used. The ability to see the chakra circulatory system is the combination of their X. Ray vision and the ability to see chakra. They can see the tenketsu's points because of their telescopic vision while viewing the chakra circulatory system. They literally zoom in to see them, but sadly, this also caused tunnel vision. However, that's where their 360-degree vision comes in. Finally, their legendary ability, or their all-seeing eyes, is because of their X. Ray vision combined with their telescopic vision, as well as their 360-degree vision. Understand, Naruto? Kun? Asked Kira following her reply. I really had no idea that a Dojutsu was so complicated, I just thought it did what it did. I never imagined it was made up of all these separate abilities being mixed together. It's really kind of humbling. Most people never think about how a jutsu or ability works. All they ever want to know is how to use it, and that's enough for them. I know it's confusing, but every question you ever ask me is always the difficult ones. If they weren't, you wouldn't ask me now, would you? Replied Kira. I guess I wouldn't. Well, if that's how the Hyuga Dojutsu works, what are the base abilities of our Dojutsu? Ours is unlike any other to my knowledge, Naruto. Kun. It has existed in the Kitsune clan since the beginning. As you already know, your eyes are naturally much better than many humans. Even without a Dojutsu, our regular eyes are rather impressive. They can see clearly at night and easily adjust to varying speeds and changing light. This alone could be considered a lower Dojutsu. Sadly, not all Kitsune are able to activate the actual Dojutsu. Usually it's 1 in 5 that do. As for the abilities, our eyes possess when they are active. Like most Dojutsu, it can see chakra in the air or how it flows through the circulatory system. Now we may not be able to see it as clearly as the Hyuga since we view it through the skin and such, but what we can do that they can't is see the aura that the chakra takes inside and outside the body. This gives us many advantages when you learn how to read what the aura means. Next, it enhances your sight even more. In other words, you will see things in slow motion and greater clarity all the time when active, instead of just when your eyes adjust to something like you're used to doing now. It also has telescopic vision like the Byakugan, but this takes a lot of training to use, because we see the chakra auras given off by everything. So unlike the Hyuga, we will need to train to look past the distractions to see what we need to or want to. Next, we can use the power of hypnosis and suggestion with our Dojutsu. This means when we make eye contact with someone, we can either implant an idea or action for him or her to perform, or we may be able to control their mind enough to make them do what we want altogether. It all depends on the person's will and mental strength. If they are strong, it may not work at all, but if they are weak, well, just use your imagination. Finally, when you mix and combine these abilities, we are also able to predict our enemy's movements down to the smallest detail when you are against taijutsu. With training, it is also possible to predict genjutsu and ninjutsu with our eyes, but that takes time to learn. I never really bothered to learn this, because I never thought that I would be lowering myself to battling a human in any form other than my fox form, but I know it's possible to do from hearing about other kitsune. Any other questions, Naruto? Kun? Asked Kira, after stepping out of Naruto's arms him from a kneeling position. Oh, what's this called? Not really, but I'm excited to start training with it because it sounds like a great help with my Juken training. Well, it really doesn't have a name, but I guess if you wanted to, you could name it. The fact that our Dojutsu and the Byakugan are so similar is also quite surprising. We just don't have the capacity to see through solid objects. We could accomplish everything the Byakugan can accomplish and more if we had that. Without giving it any thought, Kira uttered, our Dojutsu is actually closer to the Sharingan than the Byakugan. Is that another Dojutsu, Sharingan? How does that one function? In all innocence, Naruto inquired. Whoa. He just takes in everything I say like a sponge, so I have to give him a little bit more information than he actually needs. There is also another Dojutsu known as the Sharingan. When mastered, it has talents for genjutsu similar to our own, but it functions on the basis of 3 main abilities, just like the Byakugan. The Sharingan's skills include: it allows the user to see things in slow motion and greater clarity. Like most other Dojutsu, it can see chakra. Lastly, it can memorize anything it sees instantly and allows the user to recall it at will. When combined, these skills give a Sharingan user access to some of the most extraordinary abilities known to ninjas. They are just as adept at anticipating an enemy's movements and jutsu as we are, as you have undoubtedly already discovered. They can also instantaneously copy any nin, gen, or tai jutsu with it. They can accomplish this by learning the hand seals and the quantity of chakra used, and then committing the flow of the chakra to memory. We could also accomplish this if we could memorize information instantly, but even though we are not as good at copying jutsu as Sharingans are, we can still learn it with enough concentration and practice at a later time. Gosh, we do seem to be in charge. With a sly smile, Naruto inquired. I guess you could say that, Naruto. Kun. Kira laughed softly. Never forget, Naruto. Kun, that all the jutsu, special abilities, and raw strength in the world won't help without the skill required to use them properly. You always seem to be able to bring me back to reality, don't you? Since we still have an hour before we have to leave for my Juken training, how about we just read something enjoyable for now? Holding up the infamous orange book, Naruto questioned. With only a light-hearted grin, Kira returns to her cuddle up against his chest and says, you know, we should see about getting more of these books. Naruto opened the book to a rather risque sight and said, if how you were acting at the stand has anything to do with these books, I'll buy an entire set of them for the 2 of us and even get the limited edition ones. Naruto's sensei was giving him some last instructions before sending him off to his training with Hinata at the conclusion of his Juken basic training session. You're doing fantastically, Naruto. San. You already have a solid understanding of the foundational kata. Additionally, your chakra control is progressing well. Regarding your physical conditioning, I don't need to say anything. As unbelievable as it may seem, I think by the end of the week you will be prepared to continue your training with Hiashi Sama. I can only advise you to keep in mind that the Hyuga style is known for more than just its gentle fist due to the way we attack the opponent. We wait and observe all the time, which is why it is called the gentle fist. We observe our adversary and let them approach us. Juken's greatest strength lies in our ability to counter and avoid. We use light combat. Conversely, you consistently launch attacks without thinking through the repercussions. In close quarters combat, you might be a true tank, but the way you are employing our style is negating its actual benefit. To improve mental clarity, I would suggest that you start practicing meditation in the morning and evening. I'll demonstrate how tomorrow. It could also be beneficial to learn Go or Shogi, Kyoju. Sensei advised wisely. Sensei, I get it. The idea of meditating made Naruto wince. I'll make sure to practice that, he said. Well, our training session is about to expire in 20 minutes. Until Hinata Sama arrives, I would like you to keep working on the fundamental kata. Naruto bowed and said, of course, Kyoju. Sensei. I will see you tomorrow. Naruto spent the remainder of his time going through the kata while Kira made occasional remarks or clarified what she and he needed to do to advance. Hinata spoke softly but loudly enough to be heard, "Good afternoon, Naruto-kun." When Naruto hears Hinata, he turns to face her and asks, "Hey Hinata, is it already time for our training? It goes by so quickly when you're training." "Yes, then, Naruto-kun, what would you like to start with today?" Hinata questioned in her always gentle voice, but to Naruto's amazement, there was not a single stutter. "What did you do last night, Kira-chan? Wow. She is still shy and struggles with confidence, but she is practically a different person now than the blushing stutter machine she was before. Naruto-kun, all I did was provide her with a person to discuss her innermost feelings with. All she needed was someone to confide in. She probably hasn't had a confidant since her mother. She will eventually get even better, in my opinion. All we have to do is be there for her." Naruto grinned and said, "Hey Hinata, how about you assist me with the 5th kata? It's giving me some trouble, and I really could use your assistance." "Of course, Naruto-kun, let me help in any way I can. I am genuinely assisting Naruto-kun. I'm craving more. My goal is to gain strength. Stronger for everyone, including Naruto-kun, so I won't have to be a burden. She's going to be alright, is she not? She will truly become something someday," Naruto thought. She is, in fact, Naruto-kun. Her lack of confidence was the only thing preventing her from being everything she could be. She will eventually be a valuable asset to Naruto-kun. It's terrible that all I really see in her is a resource for him, but that's all she is until I can pull her out of this situation. An opportunity. Let's get started, Naruto-kun. We have a lot of work ahead of us today, Hinata stated, maintaining her kind tone but adding a tiny bit of determination. Later that night, Naruto had just finished dinner with Kira in his apartment. Kira had already shown him how to season and cook various meats for taste, but tonight she showed him how to use sauces in his cooking. They ate white rice with chicken cooked in a hot orange sauce. "That was delicious, Kira-chan. I'm happy you enjoyed it, Naruto-kun," Kira grinned. "Now get to bed so we can dispel the cage bunshin. I'm not sure how long it will take me to sort through all of their memories, so I need all the time I can get." "Alright Kira-chan, I'll see you in the morning and, thank you for everything. I just can't think of any way to repay you for all you've done." "You don't need to thank me, Naruto-kun. You already know why I'm doing this, so you should understand that I'm not doing this for thanks or for something in return, but if you insist, I always loved back rubs," Kira smiled softly. With a broad smile on his face, Naruto simply walks towards his bed. For the two of them, the next 2 weeks seemed to go by quickly. Each day melted into the next, and as time went on, the two grew closer and stronger. It was the happiest period of Naruto's life. For the two of them, the mornings began the same way every day. They started their training for the day with their run. Meeting Iruka to receive assistance with their fundamentals in jutsu came next, followed by adhering to the training regimen to acquire their unique skills. Naturally, Kira and Hinata would spend the next few hours chatting away after training with the Hyuga in Juken and assisting him before his chores arrived. Additionally, the Cage Bunshin were constantly at work. Up until the day of the team selections and their meeting with the Hokage to inform him of their abilities, Naruto and Kira spent the entire 2 weeks of training in this manner. Throughout the past 2 weeks, Kira's training in Kitsune-bai has truly taken Naruto by surprise. Before Kira taught him the first technique, Naruto had never given it much thought, even though Kira had stated that it was one of the 3 primary skills of a kitsune, along with Dojutsu and alder. When used correctly, the basic Kitsune-bai turned out to be a whole fighting style. A couple of days ago, Naruto had recently learned how to create a simple burst of Kitsune-bai by drawing out the meager amount of Yuki in his own chakra in addition to Kira's Yuki. Still, he was a little let down. It took him less than a minute to form a burst using Kira's Yuki, but it took him more than 6 minutes to gather enough energy using his own energy. In the shinobi world, a few seconds was considered too long, but minutes? You were merely begging to be killed. Naruto complained in a childlike voice, Kira-chan, what good is Foxfire if it takes this much time to form a sphere? It would be rather useless as far as I can see. After Kira laughed softly, she replied, well, I have to agree with you on that, Naruto-kun. 6 minutes to form a shot would be rather useless. As far as I can see, your system can only circulate that much Yuki in that time. You have mastered collecting it superbly, it's just that the Yuki isn't there to collect, but don't worry. The Yuki in your system will only increase from here on, so it will get easier. Like this. Subsequently, Kira lifts her right hand and gestures with her index finger, seemingly pointing at something. Her claw shot out in an instant, glowing a fierce red, and then a crimson fire, the size of a volleyball, shot out, almost destroying a nearby tree. Naruto was merely amazed by the exhibit. Upon inspecting the tree, he discovered that the explosion had destroyed a significant portion of the bark and the tree itself. The wood was nearly smooth, with only a few rough spots, and was a deep black color that was still hot to the touch. As he faced Kira once more, she uttered, "This Naruto Kun is the first technique for Kitsunbai, Fureya. Tama, flare shot. It works by focusing a burst of Kitsunbai into your finger and then, by forcing it into your claw, it builds pressure. Then when you release your hold on it, well, you see the effect. Eventually, you can learn to do this from multiple spots on your body after enough time. Your fingers, fists, palms, feet, arms, legs, fur, mouth, whatever you can think of, as long as you can focus it there and force it out with enough force." Naruto could only think to himself, this would be very useful, but as it is, 5 whole minutes to create one shot. I guess I will have to wait, as he continued to survey the damage the tree had sustained. Kira responded, "No, you won't, Naruto Kun," which caused Naruto to leap. "You forgot that I can hear your thoughts, didn't you?" replied Kira with a sigh. "Well, anyways, after our first training session with Kitsunbai, I decided to work on something special, and it's about time I let you use it." Kira snapped her fingers, and to Naruto's amazement, his seals started to flare up as if on fire as he watched, perplexed as to what she meant. They started out glowing a fierce red, changed to a shadowy blue, and then back to red. His seals started to flash more quickly as Naruto studied them with interest, eventually settling on a light purple hue. Naruto said, "Kira-chan, what did you just do?" as his seals started to gradually disappear. "Well, I thought that an attack that took so long was rather useless, so I used a side effect of my seals being placed to an advantage." "Side effect? What kind of advantage?" "Well, as you know, I said that the seals I placed are for me to send Yuki to you in emergencies, and then have your system absorb whatever was left so you could grow accustomed to it, correct?" With a firm nod, she continued, "Well, it seems that ever since I placed them, they have constantly been taking small amounts of my Yuki and the Yuki your body has begun to produce and stored it. At first, I just thought it was doing this in order to absorb it once again, like a flood control on a canal, allowing it to overflow into another pool until the regular one was low enough, or in your case big enough to let it flow back, but after seeing the problem that you have been having, I decided to alter the seals to do that on purpose. And keep the extra pool full." Scratching the back of his head, Naruto asked, his expression bewildered. "And how is that an advantage again? I made you an artificial chakra pool. You now have a small orb of pure Yuki that has been gathered from the supply your body makes for yourself now instead of having to rely on mine. It isn't anywhere near as potent as mine, so there's no danger in using it as you like, but for now, you can only store enough for 3 shots with the Fureya Tama a day. I've also set it up that whenever you sleep, it will rejuvenate your reserves quicker." "Cool. So I can actually use the Foxfire now? This is great. Wait, you said only 3 shots? How many can you fire in a day?" "Me? As long as I have Yuki, I can use them. Remember, the only reason you can't yet is because you have so little on hand. As the amount your body creates increases, so will your number of shots because your stored amount will build up along with it." "That's cool, I guess I'll have to mess around with this some more. Will my seals always glow when I use Foxfire?" "No, only when they normally would. The seals only collect the Yuki. They have nothing to do with it when you use it. For right now, the Kitsunbai and Fureya Tama are the only techniques you have enough stores for. When you build it up more, I'll teach you others." Naruto exclaimed, "Looks like I have a new toy." While conjuring up a purple fire sphere in his palm. He can already tell the difference between his chakra and the orb I created. "Just how far can you go, Naruto?" "In the office of the Sandaime Hokage." "Well, Naruto-kun, it seems that the last 2 weeks has been very good to you and Kira. I have been getting very good reports from Iruka about your progress, but he could only comment on what he has seen. As the Hokage, I need to understand how far you have come with your Kage Bunshin helping the two of you train. I will promise you now that anything you tell me will remain with me unless it is absolutely necessary for me to disclose it to others. The Sandame spoke in his Hokage voice. After giving each other a brief glance, Naruto and Kira turned back to face the Sandame and nodded in agreement. How do you want us to report about our training and what we have learned so far, G? San? Replied Naruto. I would like you to go one at a time and explain your skills by taijutsu, genjutsu, ninjutsu, medical ninjutsu, your special abilities, what chakra control exercises you've completed and anything else you think would be useful for me to know. After a moment's reflection, Kira replied, Alright, I'll go first then. I found that the Juken style of taijutsu just wasn't right for me, so I created one for myself by combining the Juken's flowing movements, my Foxfire, and the medical knowledge I learned with Naruto. Kun. It mainly focuses on external burning damage, attacking nerve clusters, major muscle groups, and pressure points. I did this mainly because I lacked the exact control for Juken or a chakra no Enjingtu requires. My Yuki just can't be focused that precisely, so I found a way around that. My ability to cancel genjutsu is Chunin level by what Iruka said, and for the same reason that I can't use Juken, I can't cast human genjutsu. I have learned all the same jutsu as Naruto. Kun except for the medical ones. I have completed the tree. Climbing exercise, leaf exercises, and balancing the piece of grass in my hand. But that's as far as I could get in control before my Yuki stopped me. As you know, my senses and body are already under control. As for our Dojutsu, I'll let Naruto Kun explain it to you. Completed Kira. That is very impressive, Kira. To create your own style, even with a basis on another, is very difficult. I would love to see a demonstration later. As for your control difficulties, there isn't much I can do about it. Yuki is an unknown in the ninja world, so I'm afraid that you are on your own for that, but if you need any help, just let me know. The Sandame responded. After giving it some thought, Kira questioned, actually, Sandame. Sama, I wanted to know if you could provide me with some Suiten and Doten Jutsu? In the report I received last week on your progress, Iruka reported that the two of you refused to learn any elemental jutsu. The report said you couldn't because of the unique properties of Yuki being aligned to the elements? Replied the third. After reflecting on how to phrase this, Kira replied, I declined then because I wanted to ensure that nothing about my aligned elements had changed. I am still a demon of earth and water, whether or not I'm in a human form. Naruto. Kun still has a long way to go until his elements are decided. The only one we are sure of at the moment is wind. So we decided it would be better for him to wait until later to learn any elemental jutsu. It would be rather pointless to spend the time learning a jutsu, just to find out it's useless a few months later. Wind, just like his father. Alright Kira, here is a scroll of Doten Jutsu and here is one on Suiten Jutsu. I don't believe I need to tell you to master the lower level jutsu in those scrolls before moving on to the higher level ones? Replied the Sandame. Of course not, Sandame. Sama, and thank you for the jutsu. Replied Kira. The third gave Kira a forehead protector and said, oh, before I forget, here is your leaf hitai. 8. Kira. The bewildered Kira questioned, you're giving me a symbol of the leaf? Don't you think that's a little off? You are living in the Hidden Leaf Village, being trained by 2 leaf shinobi, are living with the child of a village hero and are answering to the Hokage. If you are not a member of the leaf, then I really must be getting senile. The third said with a smirk. That may be true, but I have no intention of leaving Naruto. Kun sighed. So I must decline your offer. The chances of me having to leave him for a mission are just too high to risk. If you ever need me, I'm always here, but I will not put myself at the mercy of the council. Said Kira with all seriousness. Well, you do realize that without being a licensed shinobi, you will not be able to accompany him on missions? And if I'm not a shinobi, you have no right to stop me from following him either. It's easy to forget that you're dealing with a 7,000-year old being when you're talking to Kira. Very well, you win for now, but know that this is always waiting for you, Kira. The third pointed to her license and forehead protector, scowling all the way. Naruto simply remained silent during the entire conversation. Naruto's focus and patience have changed the most in the past 2 weeks of all the changes that have occurred. He has patience from his Juken training, and mental clarity from his interactions with Kira and her incessant riddles. Whenever Kira becomes playful, he loses all cognitive thought, and so does everyone nearby, even when he is focused on the problem. Naruto said, "Well, I guess that settles that, huh, Kira?" "Chan? I suppose it does, Naruto." "Kun, it's your turn now," replied Kira. "Yes, I am most interested in hearing how far you have come in your medical training, Naruto," said Sandame. Hiyashi. "San says that my Juken is coming along perfectly. I have already mastered the chakra manipulation for the attacks. My medical training helped greatly with that. I have also mastered 10 out of the 21 kata of the Juken style." Hiyashi. "San believes that I could have the last 11 mastered within the next 2 months. Although I can cancel them at a Chunin level, my genjutsu is mostly on par with Kira Chan's. However, despite my control, I still find it difficult to use them effectively, with the exception of the Kokwangyu no Jutsu. I believe that genjutsu is not suitable for Kitsune. As for the jutsu I have mastered: D. Grade. Bunshin no Jutsu. Henge no Jutsu. Kawarimi no Jitsu. Shuriken no Jutsu Cage. B. Grade. Ninpo. Dokugiri. Bunshin Cage. Bunshin Shuriken Cage. A. Grade. Kachiyose no Jutsu. Jutsu Kokwangyu no. Naruto concluded, sitting back to hear the opinions of his grandfather figure, Bakuretsu Cage Bunshin. "I see you completely skipped learning NEC. Ranked, even so that is quite the jutsu library for a genin. 4D. Rank Jutsu, 1B. Rank, 2B. Rank Kinjutsu, 1A. Rank Kinjutsu, and 2A. Rank Jutsu. One of which most Junin can't even perform correctly. I would say you are doing fine. Especially considering that you didn't mention any of the jutsu from the medical scrolls," the Sandame said with a glint in his eye. "This morning, I also applied for my medic license, and now I'm waiting to hear back if I passed or not," Naruto said. The third answered, "Actually, Naruto, I just received the paperwork on that a moment ago." "Really? How did he do?" Kira inquired, clearly concerned. Seeming to be as composed as possible, Naruto simply listened on intently, but deep down he was yelling to find out if he had passed. "I won't disgrace my mother's memory by making a scene over this, but I still want to pass." "Well, Naruto, you passed," the third person said. After hearing this, Naruto and Kira couldn't resist jumping into each other's arms and giving each other a passionate kiss that almost sent the elderly man to the ground. I really passed? I passed my license exam, yes." Composing himself, the Sandame replied, "Yes, you did, Naruto. The examiners were very impressed with you. You passed and were awarded a third class field license. Your knowledge and the practical skills you displayed warranted a 1 street class license, but because of your young age and lack of experience in the field of being a medic or a shinobi, you were restricted to a third class. They also said that your knowledge of diseases and more serious operations was limited. You will be required to work in the hospital for 5 hours a day, 4 days a week when not out of the village to maintain your license. You will receive pay for this, of course. I hope it was okay, but I scheduled you to start the day after tomorrow on the bird shift. That shift is 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. I thought it would work well for you." "Gee. San, that's fantastic. I can't wait to get started," exclaimed Naruto, his old hyperbole showing through. "I'm glad that you're happy about it. Well, here is your medic license, as well as your shinobi license. Now, you need to finish your report. You need to be at the team assignments in an hour." "Alright, I guess I can skip the medic report, so the special abilities I have mastered are my senses, the workings and needs of this new body. Well, I guess that really didn't need to be reported, but yeah, my Foxfire to a point, and I'm just starting to work on my Dojutsu. I don't want to explain it because it would take too long, so I just wrote down its abilities on this scroll for you, as well as all my other changes and even my history to this point. I just thought you would like a copy of everything. It also saves me from having to explain any of this again. Other than that, I'm done with my report," said Naruto with a fox grin. "Well, I'm very impressed with the both of you. I can only say that I will be here for you when you need me, be it questions or help in your training. I have instructed my secretary to always let you in. Actually, Sandame Sama, I wanted to know if you know anyone who can teach me in Naruto." Kun Kenjutsu? Replied Kira. For a brief moment, the third and Naruto both gave her strange looks. The Sandaime questioned, why would the two of you need to learn Kenjutsu? Well, it's always good to know other things, I also just wanted something to take up Naruto. Kun's spare time, replied Kira. What do you think, Naruto? Would you like to learn Kenjutsu also? Your schedule is going to be rather busy still. Most teams meet around 7 AM and are together until 2 o'clock or 3 PM, and I'm sure Hiyashi is waiting to hear your new schedule so he can plan out your Juken training. Also, don't forget you still will be working in the hospital from 9 PM. 2 AM. If Kira-chan thinks I should, then of course. So do you think you could get me a sensei once I get my time all straightened out? Replied Naruto. Of course, I have the perfect sensei in mind. He is a master of the Konoha Shadow sword style. It should be perfect for you. His name is Gecko Hayate. He is young for a Junin, but is very skilled. I will be seeing him later today and will ask if he is willing to teach you. Just come by tomorrow once your sensei has told you your schedule so we can set up your training time. Before heading to the academy, Naruto and Kira give each other a courteous bow and bid each other farewell. Well, what do you think of them, Hayate? The Sandaime questioned the man who was cowering in the room's shadows. Speaking from the shadows came a man with a slightly sickly appearance. He certainly reminds me of his father, Hokage Sama. His father may not have finished my training with the sword, but he was the one to begin it and give me the scrolls for it with this very sword. The least I can do to repay the man is to train his son, the man said. He had mid-length brown hair, wore a bandana over his head with the leaf symbol, wore a sword on his back, and was dressed in the traditional Junin uniform. That's good. I would have hated to have ordered you to do it. I will send you the training time tomorrow. You can leave now to prepare. The Hokage replied. Hi, Hokage Sama. Although today was no less busy than any other, there was a slight increase in tension at the Ninja Academy. Everyone in this room has been waiting for their team to arrive for almost 2 weeks, and today was the day. Iruka had a full class. There, waiting for the start of the class and the announcement of their fate, were 24 of the original graduates. The boys in the room witnessed a goddess enter as the door slid open. Her pale red eyes observed them silently as she entered, and her gorgeous silky orange red hair reached her mid-thigh. Her smooth stomach was well visible under the fishnet shirt she wore, which had a black cloth wrapped around her chest underneath. A black, trimmed, blood red flank jacket covers the shirt. She also wore a red skirt around a pair of black short shorts. She wore the typical shinobi gear and had what appeared to be black stockings covering her legs that vanished into black sandals. Finally, she wore what appeared to be a kanji-covered black choker. She was extremely beautiful. A boy wearing black anbu style pants that vanished into black sandals is trailing closely behind her. His upper body was concealed by a dark blue flank jacket with black trim and a black t-shirt tucked into his pants. He was wearing fingerless black gloves with metal around each knuckle and on the back. His hair was a spiky shade of dark blonde, with crimson tips and ebony roots, loosely tied into a ponytail that hung between his shoulder blades. He had 3 thin whisker marks on each cheek and brilliant blue eyes. In conclusion, he had a black scroll case on his left thigh, a Konoha Hitai 8 on his forehead, a black band around his wrists and ankles, a shuriken holster on his right thigh, and an equipment pouch on his back right hip. Both of them were being eyed by every boy and girl in the room. Even when a few of the bolder boys yelled catcalls at Kira, Naruto gave them death glares. Before speaking, Kira leans in and gives Naruto a quick peck on the cheek. I'll see you later, Naruto-kun. Don't do anything too rash now. As Kira vanished into a cloud of smoke, Naruto said, I'll see you later, Kira-chan. Though she had just returned to the seal, most assumed she had left like most high-level shinobi. The seal's previous world was a filthy, shadowy sewer. It had transformed into the inside of a tastefully decorated study and library with Kira by Naruto's side. The floor was a gorgeous dark marble, and the walls were dark polished wood. Bookshelves filled to bursting with all of Naruto's knowledge adorned the walls. The books included his jutsu, his training, and even his recollections of less fortunate times. The room featured gorgeous couches and armchairs, as well as a massive fireplace. In addition, it featured a massive window on one side that allowed Naruto to see the world. Even though Naruto had made a door for Kira to summon herself if necessary, doing so required almost 10 times as much chakra as usual due to the seal, which was also sufficient for 120 kage bunshin. As a result, it was really only meant for emergencies, as even Naruto needed about a third of his chakra for it. If it's alright with you, Naruto-kun, I'm going to catch up on some sleep. Just wake me up if you need me, okay? Replied Kira. I'll be fine, Kira-chan. Just enjoy yourself. Now that the Kage Bunshin training is over, why don't you take the next 2 or 3 days off? We can get back to our training once I know what my sensei is like. Kira said, that sounds great, Naruto-kun, right before she passed out on the Mindscape couch. Kira-chan, the training was really hard on you, wasn't it? I'll take it from here. Naruto said to himself as he started to move toward his seat. The incessantly slothful Shikamaru inquired, what are you doing here, Naruto? You do know that this is for graduates only, right? Yeah, Dobi, and how did you land such a babe? The brazen Kiba and his dog Akamaru exclaimed. Bark. Naruto tapped his hitai. Ate with his finger and said, in a tone that surprised everyone, if you were that inattentive to detail, maybe you were the ones that should have failed. Also, who and how I meet Kira-chan is none of your business. Shikamaru remarked, Naruto, you're just two Mendokus, troublesome. Kiba merely snarled. With a simple smile, Naruto moved to take a seat next to Sasuke. He called up to Hinata after noticing her sitting a few levels higher while he was on his way. Morning Hinata, how was your training with Hiyashi-san yesterday? Hinata spoke in the same kind, soft voice that Naruto had grown accustomed to. It was fine, Naruto-kun. Father said that I should be ready for advanced training in a month or so. The entire class was in disbelief. The weakling Hyuga heiress had not only spoken without stuttering, but she had also spoken to the boy who, it was widely known, would cause her to pass out at the mere mention of him. With his fox grin on full display, Naruto said, that's great. I hope we get on the same team. Kira-chan would just love that. I'll see you later, okay? To the brooder's dismay, he then sat down next to Sasuke. Everything went smoothly for the remainder of the wait until the blonde psycho and the pink banshee showed up. Everyone simply turned to observe the ridiculous performance put on by the frothing fangirls. After being pushed to his absolute limit during the previous few weeks, Naruto simply learned to ignore them and was relishing the time off from training. That is, until Sakura's thunderous scream tore him from his comfortable reverie. Move, Naruto. No. Baka. I want to sit next to Sasuke-kun. Naruto saw the brooding Uchiha flinch just a little after he had cleared his ear with his pinky. Well, it seems that Sasuke doesn't want you sitting here, and I really don't feel like moving, so you can find another seat, Sakura-san, Naruto said with a bored voice. For his part, Sasuke was just hoping in silence that it would work. Sakura was furious and flushed all over. The final straw for Naruto was, Naruto. No. Baka, you can't stand in the way of true love just because no decent girl would want a loser like you. Okay, insult him. Whether you do it directly or indirectly, you will die. Naruto let go of his chakra suppression and his features turned more savage. His whisker lines darkened and grew wider. His hair got even wilder, the highlights of crimson and ebony growing farther out. He extended his canines and claws, and everyone heard the sound of flesh being sliced. Everyone in the room could literally feel his power and rage pressing down on them as his chakra level rose so quickly. Sakura, one of the weaker kunoichi, was rooted to the spot as she tried to catch her breath. As they turned to face a wall, many people in the room were thinking the same thing. What the fuck is happening? Sasuke was merely grinning at his enduring adversary. So he's gotten even stronger than before. I wonder what these changes are. Does the Dobi have a Kekai Genkai? This is even better. He may never be able to surpass a Uchiha, but the stronger he is, the better I can test myself. Haruno, that is enough. Get it through your head that you don't have the right to tell me or anyone else what to do. If you want to sit next to Sasuke Teme, then just ask if you can sit on the other side of him, if you're not too retarded to notice there is a seat on his right. Also, if you ever insult my Kira Chan like that again, I'll make sure that you have a most horrible accident in a training spar. Do I make myself clear? Asked Naruto in a furious voice that anyone could discern was barely contained. Naruto's features return to normal in front of everyone's eyes, and the pressure in the room also vanishes. Sakura simply darts across Sasuke's body, acting as though he would shield her. Sasuke asked in a somber tone and stance, "What was that just now, Dobi? You went from your normal baka self to an animal." I defiantly don't want to tell them the truth. I guess I have. Truth is better. I hope they believe this horseshit. It's a Kekai Genkai that I recently activated. It changed my chakra into a denser and more powerful form. The cosmetic changes and a few other abilities are just bonuses. Naruto laughed. Since nobody in the class really knew anything about Naruto, the majority of them got by with this fairly easily. Only Kiba, Shino, Hinata, Sasuke, and Shikamaru gave it more thought. "Akamaru, what did you get from the chakra he let out?" inquired Kiba. "It was strong and he smells like a fox, but I don't know what these other scents are," shouted Akamaru. All Shino knew was that his insects were uncomfortable around Naruto. Kira had already revealed to Hinata the full extent of Naruto's abilities. The only thing Kira and Naruto refused to tell her was how he obtained them. Though she knew she still had a ways to go, she was still hurt that they wouldn't tell her. "I will get there, Naruto. Kun, I'll prove to Kira Nichan that I'm strong enough soon. This guy is just too mendokus for his own good. I have never heard of a bloodline like that, and the pressure from that chakra. The last time I felt something like that was when Dad used killing intent in one of our spars. It was the same pressure, but there was no intent to kill in it. Was it just his instinct that did it? It's just too confusing." "I'm taking a nap," Shikamaru reflected. "So I was right, the Dobi does have a bloodline. He is still no match for me, but at least he would be of more use to me as a teammate than most of these weaklings. He would at least not hold me back," Sasuke thought, maintaining his gloomy demeanor. Then Iruka enters the room and starts talking about teams and other things until Sakura interrupts. "Iruka. Sensei, why is Naruto? No. Baka here? He failed, so you should make him leave." Before Iruka speaks, Naruto, Sasuke, Hinata, and the girl glare at her for the foolish comment. "Sakura, Naruto's failure was a mistake, and it was rectified by the Sandaime, so if you were saying that there was a mistake in him passing, then you were saying that Hokage Sama made it. Now sit down so I can call the teams." Sakura simply takes a seat and thinks. What's going on today? It's as if the world's against me and it all started with Naruto. Cha. Yeah, pound that baka. Iruka said, "Okay, everyone, Team 1. The majority of the teams were called later and had already started corresponding with one another. Uzumaki Naruto, Haruno Sakura, next Team 7. Upon hearing this, Naruto and Sakura both banged their heads against the desk, exclaiming, "Why him, her? And Uchiha Sasuke. Your teacher is Hitaki Kakashi." Sakura gestured triumphantly at all the girls in the class before she stood up and inquired. Naruto and Sasuke smirked at each other, seemingly saying, "Better than anyone else." "Sensei, why is Naruto? No. Baka being paired with me and Sasuke?" "Kun? Sasuke. Kun is the rookie of the year, and I received the highest academic scores, so why?" With a collective sigh of relief, Iruka states, "All the teams are made to balance skills and abilities so every member covers for the other's shortcomings. You see, in your team's case, Sasuke has all around level skills and is only lacking experience to become an excellent shinobi, while you, Sakura, are lacking in physical power and just about everything other than having ample mental faculties. Naruto, on the other hand, has the highest stamina, speed, and chakra capacity of the class, but lacks the skills gained from extensive training. In other words, Sasuke is the fighter, you're the brains, and Naruto is the muscle. Or at least that is what the idea originally was when the teams were decided. Now that Naruto has activated his bloodline and received other training, we aren't sure where he's best suited, so we just decided to leave him where he is. Now that another interruption is done, let's finish the team assignments so I can dismiss you for lunch. Team 8. Inuzuka Kiba, Hyuga Hinata, and Aburame Shino. Your instructor is Yuki Kurenai. Team 9 is still in circulation from last year. Since the prospective students entered the classroom, the Junin Sensei in Sandame's office have been using the crystal ball to observe them. Many were comparing their teams and attempting to determine how to test them most effectively. So that is the last Uchiha, most promising new shinobi of this year. He seems rather interesting, replied Kakashi. At that moment, every male Junin looks at Naruto and Kira as they enter through the door. A genin should not look that good, remarked an anonymous Junin, addressing Kira. The kunoichi in the room gave him multiple death glares for this. That boy she's with is the Kyuubi's container, is he not? Replied Kurenai. The smoking Junin remarked, it looks like it, but he sure has changed. And who would have thought that the gorgeous kunoichi was his girl? As Kira kissed Naruto and quickly fled in a cloud of smoke. That she is, and I would advise that you all keep your opinions about her to yourself. If there is one way to get on Naruto's bad side, it's through Kira, the Sandame replied. At the Hokage's council, every Junin in the room merely nods. Any Jinchuriki is far more than what anyone wants to be angry with them, even if they are genin. Kurenai raises an eyebrow at that moment after observing Naruto and Hinata's interaction. That can't be the same girl I saw a few weeks ago, she just spoke without a stutter. Her voice was even heard that far away. What happened in the last few weeks and what was that about her father training her again? That must be it. That Teme finally realized how foolish she has been. Good for you, Hinata. Junin was thinking. If only Kurenai had known the real cause of the girl's transformation. Porn rules everyone. DF. Yes. Rock. Was that really necessary? Kakashi remarked, a fan. Girl Don't those ever die? As he witnessed Sakura start to yell at Naruto. The third simply responds, oh no. Well, you are all about to see why Kira is off limits, as soon as they all hear what she says. The power that Naruto unleashed has left the people in the room in complete shock. They all watched intently as he changed and then reverted to his usual behavior. Asuma took another drag from his cigarette and said, that was interesting. I'll have to remember that the girl is off limits if I ever run into the kid. After turning off the ball, the Sandame faces his Junin. As you all know, you have a little over an hour before you meet your teams. I suggest you get ready. A unanimous, hi, Hokage. Sama. Was uttered by the gathered Junin. Again within the classroom. Iruka had just wrapped up his call. Outs to the teams. Team 10 consists of Narashikamaru, Yamanaka Ino, and Akamichi Choji. Sarutobi Asuma is your Junin instructor. I suggest that you utilize this opportunity to acquaint yourselves with one another, as these teams will be collaborating for a considerable amount of time. Afterwards, you are all dismissed. Naruto approached Sasuke as the teams were packing up and said, let's talk. Naruto called, Haruno, are you coming or what? Lunch is on me at the stand around the corner. Sakura was still seated, so Sasuke just grunted in response and left. Sakura simply looked up, perplexed, but she turned to run out the door as soon as she noticed the annoyance in Naruto's eye. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura were sitting quietly at the tea stand across from the academy, saying, damn, this sucks. I guess I'll have to begin. Naruto paused to give this some thought. I need skills and strategy, Sasuke needs experience, and Sakura needs physical training. Naruto said, grabbing his teammates' attention. Look, I know that we have some problems with each other and we have never really been the best of friends. But until we become Chunin, get killed, or quit, we are stuck together, so we may as well try to get along and learn from each other like Iruka. Sensei said. We might as well try since we can all learn from one another. I don't think that Sasuke-kun can learn anything from you, Baka, but I do need training and Kami knows you need a brain. That was Sakura's cruel comment. I know what you're saying, Dobi, but why don't you just spit out whatever idea you have floating around in your head right now? Sasuke said. Sasuke, nothing can get past you. To be a team, we don't even need to like or be friends with one another. All we need to do is cooperate in order to achieve our objectives and get stronger. Thus, I propose that each of us choose a focus area, such as Taijutsu, Nin, or Gen. Every few weeks, we all concentrate on mastering a single jutsu or move to instruct one another. I reasoned that Sasuke could concentrate on learning Taijutsu, Sakura Genjutsu, Ninjutsu, and anything else that caught my attention or proved helpful. In this way, learning becomes less taxing for everyone and we all acquire rounded skills. What are your thoughts, guys? Doby, that really does sound good. It's amazing that you thought of the concept, but what happens if one of us picks up a jutsu that we don't want to share? After all, I'm learning the Uchiha secret jutsu, and I don't intend to share them with a fangirl or Doby, Sasuke remarked. Sakura was limited to staring down, wondering, is that all Sasuke perceives in me? Well, all ninjas have their secrets, and ours is no exception. You should not share anything if you don't want to. All I ask is that you have something to share when the 2 weeks arrive. In order to ensure that we all progress at a steady pace, I've included a scroll with a jutsu for each of you. Even though it's only a D rank, Cage Shuriken no Jutsu is incredibly helpful. That's all I had to say to both of you. After paying for their meals, Naruto departs and says, I'll see you back in class. Perhaps this team won't be as much of a burden as I had anticipated, Sasuke remarked, putting the scroll away. Sakura couldn't help but wonder, as she looked down at the scroll in her hand, what happened to the baka? He's not the same person as he once was. Now even Sasuke-kun seems to be fond of him. Maybe I ought to treat him better. Later that day, Sakura, Naruto, and Sasuke remained in the room waiting for their sensei to arrive. Initially, the three of them were silent, but after a while, the boys started practicing the new jutsu with each other, and Sakura occasionally tried as well. Naruto then pulled out a travel shogi board and challenged his teammates to a game. Surprisingly, Sakura and Sasuke were evenly matched at the game, just like with many other things. Meanwhile, Sakura was whipping the floor with the boys. After 2 hours, the three were so bored that they were on the verge of tearing their eyes out. This guy is so late, I can't believe it. Maybe we should pull a small practical joke on him to make him learn a lesson? Questioned Naruto. Prior to either of his teammates responding, they heard footsteps coming down the hall. They all turned to see the door slide open, revealing a man who embodied the quintessential Junin shinobi, with the exception of his spiky gray hair standing straight up, his hitai 8 covering his left eye, and a mask covering his neck and face. After looking around the room for a while, the man inquired, is this Team 7? Well, my first impression of you is that you're all very interesting, but not in a good way, he said after receiving a nod. The man said, meet me on the roof in 10 minutes. The three children just started to perspire. Up on the roof, not even half an hour later. With his hands tucked into his pockets and his legs crossed, Kakashi was lounging on the railing and exclaiming, all right, you three. Let's begin with a few fundamental introductions. You are aware of your preferences, dislikes, interests, goals for the future, and anything else you would like to share. With a shrug, Naruto gave Kakashi a menacing smile that verged on a smirk, you first, sensei. After all, you are the unknown here. My name is Hitaki Kakashi, Kakashi shrugged, perfectly mimicking Naruto. What are my preferences and dislikes, and what are my aspirations for the future? I have a lot of hobbies, I guess. Sakura asked, that's it? Sasuke and Sakura were staring at him blankly, obviously expecting more but not getting any. All we get is that. Once more shrugging, Kakashi gestured to Naruto and said, your turn, Blondie. With a satisfying crack, Naruto rolled his shoulders back and said, name's Uzumaki Naruto. I like to learn new things, eat ramen, and I adore my Kira. Chan. Here, he smirked and shot a glance at Sasuke. Sakura glared, and Sasuke just grinned back. I also dislike the majority of the Hyuga clan in the 3 minutes it takes to cook ramen. He said, smirking at Sasuke. In addition to becoming the strongest ninja in the world and becoming the Hokage, my goals are to become a medic. Nin, just like my mother did. Everyone shivers slightly as Naruto's tone clearly darkens and he speaks again in a way that sounds downright demonic. I also have another. I guess you couldn't call it a dream, he says. By deceiving another man, a man stole my family from me on the day I was born. I promise to kill him in the most agonizing way I can think of and make sure he never does it to anyone else. So that's why he's so strong. He too is an Avenger, but if that's true, how can he be the way he is? Sasuke gave him a bewildered glare as he considered this. Despite the glare, Naruto chose to ignore it and focus on the clouds. He is consistently joyful and nearly always looks to others. Naruto just got way too creepy, Sakura thought to herself. Well, that was a surprise. Who is this person he holds responsible for the Kyuubi attack, and who was his mother? Your turn now, Pinky, Kakashi said, gesturing to the group's female member. I need to look into this. Haruno Sakura is my name, Sakura beamingly said. She gave Sasuke a quick glance and said, I hate Naruto and Ino. Pig. My hope for the future. She gave Sasuke another look, blushed, and then let out a squeal, which Kakashi interpreted as a signal to go. Pointing to Resident Uchiha, he said, your turn, brooding one. After giving his trademark death glare, Sasuke sighed angrily, saying, my name is Uchiha Sasuke. My dislikes are too numerous to list, but among my few likes is every one of my fangirls. Training, if you can call it that, is a hobby and, he paused, it's more of an ambition than a dream. To revive my clan and, a la Naruto, take out the man who destroyed my life. That's Sasuke. Kun is awesome. Sakura pondered. An Avenger is what I should have expected to happen. So, I have a Jinchuriki who may be unstable, a brooding Avenger, and a fan. Girl. Kakashi stood motionless for a while before realizing that they were finished and saying, alright, we'll start our duties tomorrow with some survival training, just the four of us. Sakura questioned herself and said, but... Sensei. We already did plenty of that at the academy. With a laugh that bordered on, I know something you don't know, Kakashi leaned against the railing once more. You guys are gonna flip when you hear this, he said. You see, the purpose of the academy graduation exam is to determine if you possess the necessary skills to become a genin. With an evil gleam in his visible eye, Kakashi leered at the newly formed Team 7, saying, the real test is administered by us Junin. Sensei. And that test has a failure rate of 66.6%. Turning, he briefly smiled at the looks of shock, anger, and fear on their faces before saying, meet me at Training Field 7 tomorrow at 5 a.m. Bring your ninja gear, he said before turning to walk away and vanishing into smoke. And don't eat breakfast. You'll just puke it up anyway, he added before turning away. Following a brief period of time for the three to assimilate what they had just heard, Naruto tuned in and inquired, what do you think, Sasuke? I'm not sure, but all we can do is show up tomorrow and find out. And what about skipping breakfast? Asked Sakura in an irritated manner. A fool enters a battle with a full stomach, but a total moron enters starving. I propose that we have a little meal and meet Sensei halfway. Furthermore, he only suggested it, not ordered us, remarked Naruto. Dobi, that genuinely makes sense. What topic do you anticipate this test covering? Questioned Sasuke. I would advise carrying whatever you would on a mission because he mentioned survival. Naruto looked down and said, I just hope this is testing our skills and not putting us up against a Junin. Sakura appeared momentarily bewildered. Why would you say something like that? We can't fail with Sasuke. Kun here. The disparity in strength among the shinobi ranks is nearly absurd. It's unlikely that any of us three could defeat a Junin, I'm just speculating here. Not until tomorrow, we hope. With Sakura following closely behind, Sasuke simply grunts his trademark and walks away without saying anything. Well, this sucks. Yes, Naruto. Kun, it does. Now, all you can do is bide your time until tomorrow and try your hardest. Naruto was simply dozing off in bed, relishing in his sense of coziness and warmth. He was recalling how the previous evening, after he had gone to sleep, his Kira Chan had called herself. He had woken up with Kira in his arms. She was currently curled up against him, head against his chest, her silky hair fanned beneath them. How he had not noticed was beyond him. My life is good. Even if I fail this exam today, I don't care. I will still have my job at the hospital and my Kira Chan, but that doesn't mean Kaka Sensei is going to have it easy. As Naruto tried to escape the paradise that was his bed, Kira tightened her grip as if she had just learned that he was leaving. Naruto turns to look at his clock and sees that it is 4:08 a.m. I really need to get up. But I really don't want to, he says. He tried to break free from her embrace, but it was impossible. This is my test after all, so this is bad. What do I do now? I don't want to wake her. Naruto looks around the room, trying to think of a way out, and his eyes fall on the big stuffed teddy bear he had purchased for Kira when they had gone to get her clothes made and buy her ninja gear. There we go. Kira simply cuddled up against the bear after he was set free with a swift kawarimi. Lucky bastard of a bear, wait, I'm jealous of a stuffed bear? I really need to watch that. It could cause some problems. Naruto glanced at Kira for a brief moment. Arms encircling her bear, she lay in bed shrouded in a thin sheet. With her fox features flaunting, she was too adorable. Naruto had always taken great satisfaction in controlling his pervert side, but Kira pointed out that he did so every day. She had barely managed to reach him. He could easily ignore any thoughts about girls, porn, or perversion in general, but Kira just got to him. After shaking off his thoughts, Naruto left the room to prepare for the day. Naruto dresses in blue Anbu style pants and wraps the same bandages around his thighs after first wrapping them around his lower legs and forearms. He then puts on his black sandals and pulls on one of his tight black shirts, rolling up the sleeves to the point where they just barely cover his elbow. For the moment, he leaves his flank jacket on the side. After that, Naruto took off all of his pouches and unhooked his equipment belt. He then places every pouch he owns on the table in front of him. In front of him were his leg holster, equipment pouch, medical supplies, sealing scroll, and lastly his scrolls. Then, he goes through his supplies as though he were holding a checklist. Let's see, first off, I have my shuriken holster, it's fine. Next is my supply pouch, kunai, smoke bombs, blank scrolls, exploding and flash notes, ink and brush, wire, pills. I don't use shuriken enough to have them in there, so I'll put some food bars there, and of course I can't forget my current copy of Ichi Paradise. He then places his med. Nin supplies down and gives them a quick inspection. I need to stop and pick up some more supplies, but it will be nice to see Tenten again. I still can't believe how she reacted to Kira-chan when they met a few days ago. Let's see. My salves are stocked, tools clean, bandages, sterilizers, all check. A few days prior, outside of Koseki weaponry. After leaving Kachiru clothes, with an ecstatic owner and an unsteady Naruto and Kira were on their way to purchase Kira her weapons and essential ninja gear. Kira-chan, did we really need all of these clothes? Carrying 2 bags in each hand and 2 on each shoulder, Naruto asked, wishing for once that he had kept that tail. Kira said in shock, of course, Naruto-kun. I need more than 1 set of clothes. That I would have no problem with, but you basically got 20 sets of the same outfit in different colors. Saying, like you're one to talk. With a cute sigh, really, you only have 2 sets of clothes. 1 each in black and blue. Then, in a light-hearted manner, well. If that's the way you feel, we could always return my sleeping clothes and get something else. All you do is mix colors every day. Naruto was able to control his nosebleed, but Kira was enjoying their empathic link even more now that she could tell how much he liked that outfit. I'm going to have a lot of fun teasing him at night. At least until he gets the nerve to make a move, Kira said with a foxy, seductive smirk. That's what I thought. Before we go home, let's get me some supplies. When our heroes enter the store, they see that Tenten, the resident weapons mistress, is manning the counter. Well, she's asleep at the counter. Naruto and Kira both drop sweat drops, but to no avail. Naruto even goes so far as to grab a shield and a hammer off the wall to use as a noisemaker, but still, there's nothing but a slight moan from the girl. That's going a little too far, Naruto-kun, Kira remarked, removing her hands from her ears and giving Naruto a very stern look. The girl appears to be simply worn out. We ought to check back later, perhaps. Naruto said, you may be right, but I wonder what could have worn her out like this. With a questioning glance in Kira's direction. She doesn't appear to have been training, and her clothes are tidy. Higurashi Koseki said as he came out of the back room, her sensei drives his team into the ground and then gives them, or at least Tenten, the next day or 2 off. Today is her day off, Naruto-san. That I can understand, Koseki-san. I guess we'll come back later for Kira-chan's equipment. Naruto and Kira both smile at the sleeping girl, knowing all too well what it was like to be exhausted after training. However, unlike them, a night's sleep and a meal do not heal all wounds. It almost seems as though Koseki had a heart attack when he says, Naruto-san, no need. I could easily manage my own store. Young lady, what is it that you need? Isn't Naruto discussing something attractive similar to you? The next few hours were spent by Kira choosing weapons and Naruto looking through the shelves and grabbing supplies to replace what he'd used over the past week. After they had everything set and paid for, Koseki said, scratching his head, I really need to work with this girl more. Kira just giggles at the man's obvious attempt to flirt his way to a sale. On a mission like this, she could really get into trouble if she fell asleep. Especially because she refuses to awaken. I think this would be the perfect time to test out your hypnosis skill, Nagato. Kun, Kira said with a cunning smirk and a sparkle in her eye. We can also practice the andi. Fainting maneuver you applied to Hinata on those few occasions. Kira. Chan, I agree, but how should we proceed? Really, I don't want to do Tenten any harm. Whatever you do, don't hurt my daughter or mess up my shop. But a good joke, and something to tease her with, is something I'm always up for, Koseki said, raising an eyebrow at their exchange. Since you're not very good at using Dojutsu on other people, you should approach her directly and make sure to look her in the eye as soon as she awakens. Additionally, by eliminating all external stimulants and allowing only your Dojutsu to exert its influence, using the Kokwangyu no Jutsu, Bringer of Darkness, first will greatly increase the effectiveness of your Dojutsu. Then give the impression that the store has been completely gutted. Make sure you stay out of sight and only allow her to hear me. It's probably time for the girl to learn how to avoid falling asleep at work. The thought of his daughter's response made Koseki laugh even harder. This is the ideal punishment for her stealing weapons off the shelf without paying. She always does that, tries to put them back before I see it, and says she was just testing the merchandise. This is ideal. Do you believe that having me participate would be going a bit too far? Kira simply gives him a knowing grin in response, gesturing for him to take a position in the center, directly across from her, and addressing Naruto, saying, Go ahead, Naruto. Kun. We can make up for it later, so it's not important to worry about a little practical joke. Without hesitation, Naruto casts the genjutsu as instructed. Immediately, his eyes turned bloody red with black slits, and for a brief moment, a blue fire ring appears to ignite around the inside of his iris, overlapping with the red before vanishing once more. Kira naturally witnesses this before his eyes start to glow slightly, indicating that he is getting ready. Does Naruto-kun ever stop surprising people? Though he still has a ways to go, I didn't anticipate seeing a sign like that for some time. I had assumed it would take months for level 2 to awaken. Naruto-kun, you truly are amazing. As he prepares, the light in his eyes flickers and brightens. Alright, Kira. Chan, are you set? Questioned Naruto. Kira then leaves the store, saying, Of course I am, Naruto-kun. She then reappears a moment later, slamming the door as Naruto awakens the girl with a small shock, sending poor Tenten hurtling towards the ceiling whereupon it lands once more and begins to function automatically. Welcome to Koseki Weaponry, where we serve you with an edge. In what way can I assist you? Even if the genjutsu was impairing his senses of sight and hearing, he could still reduce its effects enough to partially see and hear since he wasn't the target, the girl asked, her father starting to lose his cool. Well, it appears you're out of stock. I was hoping to buy a few bakken, Kira said with a straight face, and Naruto was thanking himself that he could pull this off because he was cracking up and if he blinked, he would look really bad. Tenten was having a mental breakdown when her father entered the frame with an angry expression, saying, Oh, I assure you that we have plenty of, before she could complete her statement. How is this possible to occur? How could I have missed everything being taken when I was right here? How could I have remained silent? I'm going to die, Dad. Tenten dead fainted for the first time in her life with that as her last thought, and Kira and Naruto simply said, maybe that was too much. While stroking his daughter, Koseki. After about an hour, Koseki had put Kira on a futon behind the counter just in case, then he had gone back to his forge in the back, still cracking up, and Kira was sitting on Tenten's stool with her legs crossed, tossing a knife up and down, while Naruto sat beside Tenten, checking on her every now and then. Naruto-kun, as you did with Hinata. Chan, why can't you just shock her awake? After letting the knife graze the counter, Kira questioned, just waiting here is pretty boring. She passed out from shock and her mind couldn't process what she was seeing, so I can't. Although I'm not an authority on brain function just yet, I am aware of what not to do. She's currently processing what she saw while unconscious in her mind. Who knows what might happen if I startled her into waking up? I think she would lose her mind. Conversely, Hinata passes out due to mental faculties. Naruto uttered these words. Stated differently, Hinata. Chan fainted as a result of our practical joke, and you have no idea why she faints. Right? With a little blush, well, you can put it that way, but if you had studied the rest of the medical scrolls, you would know that too. Naruto. Kun, what good is learning something I can't use? The anatomy was really helpful, but I can't work as a medic like you, so what good is it to study anatomy anymore? It would be beneficial for me to learn about bird flight, Kira said, aiming the knife at Naruto. I guess you're correct. It appears that she will require some time to awaken. Up until then, what do you want to do, Naruto? Kun, let's just head out. I've already made the order for our Bakken, got everything I need, and even left a note asking her to deliver them when they're finished. I even left her a follow-up note asking if she would like to train with us. We just have to leave the cache. Alright, but just write down what we did in a different note. I truly don't want to mislead her any longer. Alright? After covering Tenten with a thin blanket, Naruto questioned. I doubt I'll ever be able to forget the way Tenten regarded us when she delivered our order. I believe Tenten would have killed me if Chan hadn't fired off that Freya. Tama. The last few days of training with her have been a lot of fun. Perhaps I should consider scheduling a regular meeting or something? After all, she uses weapons, and that's all there is to it. Better go now before I get late. In the first slot of his scroll, Naruto stands and seals his bag containing all of his food and camping supplies. In the second slot, he seals his duffel bag containing his extra weapons and supplies. In the third slot, he seals the chest containing all of his jutsu scrolls and the chest from his parents containing his money. Finally, as an afterthought, he decides to set up a field hospital tent to seal in the fourth slot. It measured about 7 feet tall and 10 feet in diameter. Afterwards, he sets up 2 beds about 3 feet off the ground, a table with extra supplies, and assembles an IV stand he purchased the day before from the hospital supplier. After all, a few minutes can truly save a life. I'm going to need assistance setting this up more effectively when I start working at the hospital tonight. Once he had finished securing everything, Naruto put on his flank jacket, hooked his belt around his waist, fastened his scroll to his left leg and his shuriken holster to his right, tied his hair back, stifled his chakra, and snapped his weights on. Wish me luck, Kira. Chan. For some reason, I think that I'm going to need it, Naruto said as he silently made his way out the door. Naruto. Kun. Was Kira's idyllic farewell. After a few minutes at Training Field 7, Naruto showed up with his full gear, and both Sakura and Sasuke had different opinions about the blonde's transformation. That is an interesting setup, 3 small pouches on the belt, a scroll case on his left thigh, and everything seems brand new. He must just be trying to impress someone, maybe. Was Sasuke's opinion on Naruto's fresh? Though Sakura wasn't awake enough to give it much thought just yet, she said, "Stupid Naruto, trying to act all cool like Sasuke." Kun. Nobody can act as cool as Sasuke. Kun. Indeed, just Suke. Kun. Sakura pondered with her inner shitbag. Observing Sasuke's inquisitive stare and Sakura's zombie expression, Naruto made the decision to attempt a conversation. Good morning, how long have you all been waiting here? No, we arrived here just a short while ahead of you. Our sensei ought to arrive shortly, Sasuke uttered in a monotone. That's excellent. What then do you anticipate being the test? Questioned Naruto. Naruto, how should we know? Sakura snipped, just wait for sensei to get here. Naruto, wearing a slight frown, approaches a nearby tree and leans against it to read his book. After a few minutes, Sasuke became curious and approached the book, blushing as he read it over Naruto's shoulder because Sakura was too engrossed in her own thoughts to notice anything. Questioned Sasuke. Raising an eyebrow, Naruto said, just because you have no interest in girls, sass. Uke, doesn't mean I don't, taking a direct shot at Sasuke's manhood. Seeing Sasuke become enraged at his remarks, Naruto closed his book and suggested they engage in some light sparring to kill time until sensei arrived. In all seriousness, Naruto stated, if we have to face the Junin in this situation, cooperation will be our only chance. Sasuke shot back, humph, I don't need help from the two of you to pass this test. Upon realizing this, Naruto immediately catches Sasuke by the collar and says, listen to me, you little brat. I will not fail this because of your baka pride. After giving Sasuke a moment to process, Naruto continued, the man was meticulous in everything he did, and every move he made was precise and smooth. The difference between us and that man is too great. Just think about how he moved yesterday, the feeling of being around him, and the way he studied us. If I had to guess, I would say that our sensei is at least as good as Anbu, since the only other shinobi I have witnessed acting that way were Anbu and the Hokage himself. Presumably a retired Anbu. Sasuke found Naruto's recent statement and everything he had witnessed the previous day to be, to put it mildly, extremely persuasive. No, I can't be sent back if I don't pass this test. The Dobi is correct, that man is powerful, but I still want to put myself to the test. Okay, Naruto, I understand what you're saying, but even if the test is against him, I still want to face that man by myself. With a hint of darkness at the end, Sasuke remarked, I want to test myself and see my capacity. I understood he wasn't a total hypocrite. Admittedly, I'm curious to see how far I've progressed as well. No issue at all, in fact, I was hoping for that. If the test is that kind, we'll attempt it individually at first, and if we don't succeed, we'll work together. Do you agree? Agreed, but shouldn't we also let the fangirl know about this? Pointed a thumb toward Sakura and questioned. No need. She'll follow you like a fan the moment she sees you working with me. Sasuke grimaced, but Naruto grinned and said, even if she decided not to work with me, all we need to do is say it was your idea. Why was I required to acquire a fangirl? Who else besides one of them? Sasuke uttered, casting a downward glance. Your entire fan club is only after your looks and Uchiha name, Sasuke shot back at the blonde, giving her another shot at his manhood. Hey, don't worry. She'll grow out of it soon enough when she realizes you're gay. We could always play the Sasuke only likes strong girls card if she doesn't change once she realizes you're not interested in her or when she finally realizes we won't protect her forever. Let us now begin the task of comparing our styles until Kaka Sensei arrives. Sakura, on the other hand, was still just sitting on the ground thinking, I really should have listened to Naruto and ate something. I've been on a diet, so I didn't even eat last night. Sasuke simply adopted a loose stance in response. Over 3 hours later, it was nearing 9 AM and 3 pissed-off genin hopefuls were still waiting for their tardy sensei to arrive. Naruto and Sasuke had used the first hour to compare their jutsu and fighting styles with each other. To say Sasuke was shocked was an understatement. Not only did Naruto know more jutsu than he did, but they were all high-level or kinjutsu. At first, Sasuke was pissed that Naruto knew so many powerful jutsu, but when Naruto offered to teach them to him, he was even more shocked. Why is the Dobi so willing to share his power with me? Is this what a team is for? To help each other grow. After trying the Kage Bunshin jutsu for another hour, Sasuke was very disappointed that he wasn't able to learn any of them yet. He knew them inside and out from the hand seals to the uses, but not only did he not have the reserves to use Kage Bunshin effectively, he didn't have the chakra control for the others either. Naruto, how is it that you have the power and control for these jutsu and I don't? We learned the same exercises in the academy. Asked Sasuke, almost ready to attack. It's probably because of my medical training and Kekkei Genkai. Replied Naruto, trying to keep his real reason to himself a while longer. What does your bloodline have to do with this? What does it do exactly, and what do you mean medical training? Asked Sasuke, obviously not happy. My bloodline makes my chakra very potent, so high-level jutsu are easy, but at the same time low-level jutsu are hell on me. I also have larger reserves because of it. It has always been precise control and illusions that have always caused me problems. And I mean medial training because I'm a licensed med. Nin. A med. Nin needs the most precise control. This helped out a lot for the jutsu and illusions, said Naruto with a big smile while showing his license off. I never would have pegged you as a med. Nin, Naruto, I guess it makes sense for your control. How long did it take you? The Dobi just keeps getting more and more useful. Now he is a medic and has high-level jutsu to teach me. The only thing that could make him any more useful is for him to have the Sharingan. It took me years worth of training, not a lie. My Bunshin did almost 9 years worth of training for me in medical and basic training. Don't worry about it. I'm sure after we pass this little test, Kaka Sensei will give us some training, and as soon as you're ready, we can work on the jutsu again. If he doesn't, I'll show you some exercises you can do. I doubt that you need or want the kind of control a medic needs, but I do know others. Yeah, And when that freaky body of yours decides to settle on your elements, I can teach you a few fire jutsu as agreed. I still can't believe you will be able to use elements at your will," replied Sasuke with a smirk, thinking of the spars they would have. Just as the boys had finished speaking, there was a puff of smoke and Kakashi was standing there in his normal slouching pose. All three genin greeted their sensei with the same phrase. "You're late," screeched Sakura as Sasuke and Naruto merely pointing at the tall Junin and said, "You're late again, sensei." The gray-haired man just ignored the irate kids and set up an alarm clock on one of the 3 posts in the training grounds. He then pressed a button and it dinged once. It started ticking and Kakashi turned to them and said, "It's set for noon." He held up 2 bells next. "You have until then to take one of these from me. That is your task for today. If you don't get a bell, then you don't get lunch and I'll also tie you up to one of those logs and eat in front of you. Those who do not get a bell will fail and be sent back to the academy. That will be at least one of you." As the 3 ninja were imitating a fish, Kakashi tied the bells to his belt loop and said, "You'll have to come at me with the intent to kill if you hope to pass." As Sasuke and Sakura were sweating, Naruto although, just didn't find this right. "How can one of us fail? Iruka, Sensei and San told me genin teams were 3 students and a teacher, no other way. At least I thought that's how it works. This just doesn't make any sense." "Wait, that's it. It doesn't make sense because it doesn't. Look underneath the underneath, like San said, it must be a trick. He's trying to turn us against each other. Only 2 bells, the no eating thing, and the chance of failure, it's all to distract us, but from what? What's the real goal here?" Kakashi was enjoying the looks on his students' faces. The only thing he liked more than messing with the genin before he failed them was the shocked looks he got. Sakura looked like she was going to puke, Sasuke looked about ready to kill and Naruto was thinking, "What's up with this kid? There's no way he figured it out. Even I took half the test to see the point." Then a look of realization passed Naruto's face and Kakashi was just slack jawed, "No way." With a smirk firmly in place, Naruto said, "It won't work, sensei." This earned him looks from all 3 other shinobi. "What won't work, Naruto?" asked Sakura confused. "Think about it. In the academy, they always said that genin teams were 3 students and a sensei. No way around it. It was a law set up by the Shoden himself to help with survival rates. The only way a genin team can have less than 3 genin is if one is promoted to chunin, is injured, or if one dies, and even then the team gets a replacement from the reserve list or is added to it." All 3 ninja had wide eyes while Naruto continued to explain his theory. "Just look at the setup sensei just did with that in mind. This test is turning us against each other. The rule about lunch was to this end as well. That way, we would be weak and easily agitated. The bells are just to distract us and make us compete with each other for them instead of working together. He either takes all of us or none of us. I think that he is concealing the real goal by using the bells in this trick. I don't know what it is yet, but we're going to find out." Finished Naruto taking a stance. "How did I miss this? I'm supposed to be the brain here, maybe Naruto. No. Baka really is more than I thought?" was Sakura's view. "I knew the Dobi was right about eating, but to get all this from just the setup of the test? I really can grow stronger with him as a challenge, but first we need to find the meaning of this stupid test," thought Sasuke. Kakashi was floored. No one has ever figured this test out that quickly. He may not know the meaning yet, but to see underneath the trick that easily, I will have to keep an eye on these 3, whether they fail or not. All of the genin just smirked after accepting Naruto's idea as truth and took ready stances. Kakashi was true to his Anbu training and didn't let a single emotion cross his face. If that is what you think, but it really doesn't matter anyway. Even if there is another way to get me to pass the 3 of you, the only way you know of is to get a bell, and as I said before, come at me with the intent to kill or you have no chance. Well, if that's what he wants. Naruto hearing this draws a kunai and runs at Kakashi. Before Naruto got 5 steps, Kakashi was behind him, holding his arm behind his head and pointing the kunai at his neck. It was obvious that Kakashi was physically stronger, but he was having a hard time holding the boy. How is it possible for Naruto to have this much strength already? The only Junin that's stronger than I am is Guy, and that man is insane when it comes to taijutsu training. Wait, his arm is strangely heavy. What are those rings? In a seemingly calm, almost bored tone that completely ignored the struggle he was having, Kakashi said. Now, I haven't even said go yet. He's so fast. I couldn't even follow him, so this is a Junin. Me and Naruto were almost even when we spared earlier. Even though I hate to admit it, it's obvious that I only have experience on the Dobi. He was right. A Junin is far beyond our level, thought Sasuke, scowling about his own shortcomings. Alright, you seem to have the right idea. Ready, set, go, said Kakashi. The genin all jumped away, kicking up a cloud of dust in their escape except Naruto. Kakashi sweat dropped. You're supposed to hide, you're an odd one, aren't you? Naruto chuckled, the only thing odd here is your hair. Kakashi looked at Naruto in a calculating way. He has unknown abilities from the Kyuubi from what the report I received from the Sandaime says, as well as a large repertoire of high-level jutsu from what I observed of him and Sasuke sparring. He also carries medial supplies and some strange items. I won't be able to read with him around. Naruto stared at Kakashi then grinned sadistically. I need to go all out here to see where I stand. He then unclipped the black metal ring on his right wrist. At the same moment, Kakashi heard 3 other simultaneous clicks. Then, to his surprise, all 4 of the black metal rings the boy was wearing fell to the ground, leaving small cracks in the earth. Kakashi, seeing the craters form, just sweat dropped while thinking, oh. Naruto then released his chakra suppression and the normal pressure that always follows descended on the training grounds. His nails and fangs extend with the sound of slicing flesh as his feral features returned. Now, Naruto said, his smirk turning into a fox grin, locking blood. Red eyes with Kakashi, I'm ready. Kakashi had to double take when Naruto disappeared instantly, making Kakashi's eye widen with surprise. No genin should be this fast. A blue whirlwind surrounded the masked Junin. Flecks of blonde and black were seen swirling inside of it. Then, a blur suddenly flew from the circular pattern, striking the distracted Kakashi hard in the jaw before rejoining the miniature cyclone. Regaining his bearings, Kakashi pulled 2 figures from the whirlwind, forcing it to dissipate. He chuckled, not as fast as you thought you were. He slammed one of the Narutos into the ground, causing it to puff into smoke. The second Naruto broke free from Kakashi's grasp with a swipe of his claws that made the Junin back flip away. Got to remember that this is no ordinary kid. Those claws are inconvenient. While the elite ninja was concentrated on his problem, Naruto tried to send a roundhouse kick into the man's chin, only to have Kakashi duck at the last second. With Naruto's back was exposed to him, Kakashi set his hands into the tiger seal. An evil gleam in his eye, Kakashi thought. Try to scratch me, will you? I will not relive the horrors of that damn cat. Konoha ultimate secret technique, 1,000 years of pain. A powerful chakra-enhanced ass. Poke sent Naruto flying before bursting into smoke a few dozen yards from his sensei. Kakashi's eyebrow rose, another clone? When did he do that? Oh well, this gives me some reading time, he, said Kakashi as he pulled out his book. In the surrounding forest. God damn him. Thought Naruto, while rubbing his sore ass. I'm glad I had clones in the surrounding forest to use Kawarimi with. I don't think I could face Sasuke if he knew Kaka. Sensei actually got me with that ridiculous jutsu. Now how do I get those bells? For the next hour, Naruto observed Kakashi reading the 3rd volume of Ichi. Ichi Paradise in. Between burying Sasuke up to his head and casting illusions on Sakura. This guy is insane. He's just too strong, how can we possibly get a bell like this? Our best hope is to just team up and see what happens, but even then. Naruto was careful to avoid Kakashi at all cost as he snuck over to dig out Sasuke and send 2 clones to wake Sakura from the genjutsu. Had enough testing yourself yet, Sasuke? Asked Naruto. Yeah, let's get this guy, he'll pay for burying me like this. Said Sasuke, still buried up to his neck. Just then, the clones came running up with Sakura right behind them, only for her to faint seeing Sasuke is only ahead. If we're going to survive as a team, we really need to get this girl some training, said Naruto while checking on the girl. We can deal with that later, Dobi. Dig. Me. Out. Now. Demanded Sasuke, trying to wiggle out on his own. Sure. Just give me a second, said Naruto as he dug Sasuke out after waking Sakura. As the three genin sat in a circle, Naruto handed his two teammates a food bar from his pouch. I know they taste like crap, but they give quick, lasting energy. Do you guys need any pills? Asked Naruto. You have pills, Naruto? I thought you needed to be a chunin to buy those, said Sakura. You can also get them if you are a med. Nin. Do you need any, Sakura? No, but if that's true, how do you have them? Asked Sakura again. Naruto is a licensed med. Nin, Sakura, and I don't need any either, but how are we going to get those bells? I can't fail this test. Seethed Sasuke. Sakura was just shocked to find that Naruto was a med. Nin, and even more so by Sasuke's next question. Naruto, do you have any ideas here? Sasuke. Kun is asking, Naruto for help? Has he really come that far? Is being, thought Sakura. Actually, I have a good idea about what to do, and Sakura is going to be our secret weapon. Said Naruto, getting, what the fuck, looks from the other two. Kakashi was lazily leaned against a tree just on the edge of the training field reading his book in peace. It's already been a little over 2 hours, not much time left, and I haven't seen any of the kids for about an hour. Just then, to Kakashi's surprise, Sakura came running out of the tree line as she created two bunshin. Kakashi just shrugged as she approached, only to sense two more heading his way. As he turned, he saw about 10 Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto running for him. Wait, Naruto is the only one who can use Kage Bunshin, and there are at least 5 real bodies of each, so that would mean they are all Naruto and just hanged. Thought Kakashi. He then started to meticulously disperse the basic illusions and lightly tapping the solid ones to disperse them, tapped to him, but they got launched a good 10 feet before poofing away. Every time Kakashi would finish with one swarm, another one would appear from the trees, always with different strategies and formations. Then one clone was actually able to lash onto his back, and to his horror, he heard the words, "Don't expose your back, right Kaka?" Sensei? Bakuretsu Kage Bunshin. After the smoke had cleared, it showed a rather singed, not too happy Kakashi. I can't believe he has enough chakra for this. He is only a genin, a Jinchuriki, yes, but still a genin. Just then, all 3 genin hopefuls appeared right in front of Kakashi. How much longer do we have left? 5.10 minutes tops? Asked Sasuke in a bored tone. Kakashi for his part only scoffed and reached for his book only to find nothing. Looking for this, Kaka. Sensei? Asked a smirking Naruto, holding an exact copy of Kakashi's book. Sasuke and Sakura were just smirking at the freak look on their sensei's face. Well, Kakashi. Sensei, if you want your book back and not roasted by Sasuke. Kun, I think you know what we want. Teased Sakura. How did they get my book? I always have a chakra string attached to it. If they even pulled on it, I should have known. I can even sense my string still attached in my pouch, but there's nothing attached to it. Alright, here are the bells. Just give me back my book. Begged Kakashi as he threw the bells to the 3, only to have them caught by Sakura. Are they real, Sakura? Asked Naruto. Yeah, they're real. You can stop now, Naruto. Called Sakura out toward Kakashi. Just then, the Naruto holding the book disappeared into a puff of smoke, and then a slight shimmer just to the left of Kakashi revealed an exhausted Naruto flat on his back sweating bullets. Kakashi had a medley of thoughts at the moment. What just happened? What was that shimmer? Where is my porn? Alright you 3, before you pass, I need a few questions answered. Said Kakashi, eyeing the 3 genin as they helped Naruto to his feet with an, I will kill you painfully to get them, look. Sasuke just shrugged as Sakura supported the panting Naruto. First off, where is my book? Demanded Kakashi. Sasuke and Sakura just looked at each other and then to Naruto. Seeing that he was too out of it after his part to explain, it fell to Sakura. With a deep sigh, it's still in your pouch, Kakashi. Sensei. It never left. Naruto just used a very well timed illusion to fool you. Hearing this, Kakashi reaches into his pouch to find his book still there, string and all. Well, that is impressive, to say the least. Now before I can let you pass, I need to know when you 3 decided to work together, who came up with this plan, and how you executed it. By some unknown signal, Sasuke knew it was his turn. Naruto and I decided to work together even before the test began. We just wanted to see where we stood against a Junin by ourselves first. The three of us came together after Naruto woke Sakura from your genjutsu and dug me out. After that, Naruto gave us the basic plan of distract him with clones, use an illusion to fool him, get the bells by stealing the book. He isn't very good at details, so Sakura asked for our abilities and then filled in the holes. While Naruto distracted you and got into range for his Dojutsu, we kept your attention on us and the clone of the book. If it wasn't for Kakashi's mask, he would be gawking. These kids are just a tactician in Sakura, a fighter and prospective leader in Sasuke, and it seems Naruto is a powerhouse on his own that keeps them together. I think I just got the perfect team. You see, Naruto used his Dojutsu to place suggestions in your mind that you couldn't see him or find your book. From what he said, the closer he is to you and the more you're distracted, the easier it is. But it seems to take a lot out of him. Finished Sasuke with his classic smirk. Actually, my Dojutsu depends on the strength of the mind. I almost wasn't able to affect Kaka Sensei at all. If it weren't for the clone with the book, it wouldn't have worked, period. I'm kind of disturbed actually, said Naruto as his right eye twitched at the idea of not being able to mess with his sensei. Sakura just had a small smile playing across her face as she helped Naruto walk over to Kakashi. One last question, you three. Called Kakashi, which got all their attention. How did you know about my book? At this question, Sasuke just had an almost mistakable chuckle. Sakura just blushed a deep red and Naruto pulled out his copy of Ichi Paradise Volume 1. Super Gold Perverted Edition with special author vision sketches. Kakashi's eyes opened as round as dinner plates as Naruto said. Any man who can claim to read these books would fight an ambu squad to keep them. On the practice field 7. Even though Kakashi would only give up so much, the four new teammates sat around and talked about their jutsu, bloodlines, fighting styles, and general getting to know one another after they had all laughed a little. As might be expected, Sasuke was proficient in several Kaiden jutsu, the classic Uchiha taijutsu form, and fundamental genjutsu techniques. Overall, Kakashi thought Sasuke had very well balanced skills and could be easily trained. Sakura, on the other hand, only possessed the academy's jutsu. She had standard academy style taijutsu and genjutsu, which was not surprising but seemed to be her strongest skill initially. Working from the ground up with this one was Kakashi's initial thought. But when Naruto started to enumerate his talents, the three of them were simply in awe. He was trained in the Juken taijutsu style by Hyuga Hiyashi himself, and at the age of 12, he obtained a C. Class Med. Nin license. Not to mention his unique chakra, Dojutsu skills, healing abilities, and this weird element bending ability that Naruto had told them about. Along with other advanced jutsu like the Ninpo, Dokugiri and the Kokwangyu no Jutsu, a relatively advanced genjutsu that Naruto says he had no idea he could learn so quickly, there is the Kage Bunshin Kinjutsu. Even though Naruto tried some of the simplest genjutsu techniques right in front of Kakashi and none of them worked, Naruto was almost naturally skilled at maintaining this A rank jutsu, something Kakashi himself thought would be challenging. After learning where everyone stood, Kakashi decided to give Naruto more time for independent training because he didn't require training in taijutsu or chakra control, and there weren't many jutsu he could teach him until his elements were determined. Sasuke was put on a general training regimen that included team exercises, sparring, and jutsu. Sakura, however, was assigned a demanding training regimen. Now I know that this doesn't seem fair, but Naruto is ahead of you two in basics, and with this strange bloodline of his, other than his Dojutsu, there isn't anything I can help him in other than being a sparring partner to give him experience and be here for him. Sasuke, on the other hand, I can begin to teach jutsu and help with taijutsu and his family techniques. And finally, Sakura, you need the most help with training. I have asked Naruto to help you with chakra control and to teach you what he knows of the medic Nin taijutsu style after your workout, since I think it will be perfect for you. Replied Kakashi with a smile at the end. Though none of the three genin particularly liked the direction this was going, they had to concede that their strange sensei was correct. Sasuke was ready to start training in taijutsu and his family's jutsu, which would be ideal for Kakashi to practice right now. Sakura required both stamina and training in taijutsu. Kakashi was simply too unsure of Naruto's abilities to play around with. For now, it was preferable to let the boy come to him for assistance. With a thumbs up, Kakashi said, Well, you all pass. Tomorrow, Team 7 starts their duties. He vanished into a cloud of smoke, saying, "Meet me at the bridge at 7 a.m. tomorrow." Naruto. I never thought I could admit this to myself, but until you and I find out who is the strongest, my brother is out of my reach. You will be my tool to reach my goal. I see that now, Sasuke thought as he bid Sakura farewell with his trademark grunt. Naruto felt a scent as his new teammates departed, and it instantly eased all of his aches. He felt two thin arms encircle his shoulders and then fall into a gentle lap. "Hey Kira. Chan, I passed." Kira said in a quiet voice, "I can tell, Naruto. Kun. You really went all out, didn't you?" While chuckling softly. Nothing seemed to work. My speed, jutsu, and abilities. Just about everything he had a counter for. For a while there, I really thought I was going to fail. Remember, Naruto. Kun. The only time power outweighs skill is when you are a 10-story demon lord. At that point, skill doesn't really matter when you can just step on most things. You really miss your old powers, don't you, Kira? Chan? Naruto asked, casting a downward glance. With a deep breath, "I won't say that I don't, Naruto. Kun, it just takes time to get used to being human. Ish. Going from being nearly invincible to being a ghost of what I used to be takes some adjusting, but if you're asking if I would go back at the cost of losing you, I would rather get sent back to those green monsters." Finished Kira with a face full of dread. Well that's nice to hear that you prefer me over the green beasts. I wouldn't wish that on anyone, but who knows? Maybe we just caught those two on a bad day. That may be true, Naruto. Kun, but for now I think it's time I gave you your gift for passing your test. An ecstatic Naruto exclaimed, "A gift, Kira. Chan. Oh, that's right. You said I would get something if I passed. What is it?" Standing up, Kira said, "First off, this is going to take a lot of power, so it may be slightly painful. This is how I need you to hold my hand and allow me to access my Yuki in a steady stream." Naruto couldn't help but think of the other times she said those words. The last time she said that I almost went insane from my senses, but every time she said those words, the pain was worth it. "Alright, take all you need," Naruto replied. Kira simply took his hand gently and started drawing on the Yuki that was sealed deep within the seal. It just felt like a slight tingling at first, and then a slight burning. As Naruto watched Kira concentrate a great deal of Yuki into her raised hand, he thought, I guess this is why Kira Chan doesn't allow me to use Yuki yet. Just feeling it pass through my coils is overwhelming. It's just so much power. A crimson aura of energy materialized around her hand in front of Naruto's eyes. It started to pulse, getting smaller and smaller with each beat until it was firmly encircling her hand. That was when her claws grew absurdly long and bright red in the process. Kira appeared to slit an opening in the air with a single, fast swipe of her luminous red claws, but instead, something that looked like a little chest and a daisho set, a traditional samurai sword set consisting of a katana and wakizashi or another short sword under 20 inches in length, fell to the ground. To Naruto's utter horror, Kira starts to go limp as soon as the items hit the ground. With a gesture that would make the gods blush, Naruto gathered Kira into his arms and appeared nearly delirious. "Kira. Chan, are you alright? What happened? What did you just do?" Kira was able to gather her thoughts in a moment and said, "Remind me not to try that again for a while, okay? I thought you were hurt. What did you just do? At the end there, I thought my arm was going to melt." "Sorry about that, Naruto. Kun, when I first learned about summoning, I figured out a way to send things from this world to my hidden den in the demon realm. What I just did was use the same method to call them back, but I don't remember it hurting that much." With a scowl that makes Kira shudder, "You're the one always telling me that my body doesn't work the same as it used to and that I need to try things out first before actually attempting them. What about you? You were getting used to a human body. Now you tell me that you just ripped a hole into another dimension when you're used to having a demon one." With a sheepish voice, "Only another realm, Naruto. Kun, another dimension would be a little too much for now." "Huh. Well, okay, I guess as long as you're not hurt, so what is it that you risked your life for?" Naruto asked, attempting to change the topic because he disliked being angry with Kira. "First open the chest." These items are relics left over from the Great War, like your scroll and weights, Kira declared with a fresh lease on life. Declaring, I thought you said that you and the other Biju destroyed all of them? Naruto asked, his expression clearly showing shock. No, I said we destroyed all of the ones in human hands, at least most of them. The existence of the ones you have could mean that there were more. I know that all the Biju kept at least one each for one reason or another. A trophy, tool, useful weapon or just for kicks. This chest and sword set are what I kept. Why did you keep these, Kira? Chan? Naruto questioned as he opened the first chest to reveal two items that appeared to be jewelry. Turning your attention back to Naruto, I kept the swords because they were crafted for me by a good friend of mine. The jewels I took from a pair of powerful warriors. Human warriors but powerful nonetheless. I want you to pick one of those jewels. They are made of a very powerful crystal that is almost non-existent in this age. Gazing into the chest, Naruto noticed two jewels that had a diameter of approximately 3 inches. The first had a rich ocean blue hue with a seamless silver border that ended in a 2-inch spike on one side. The second had a rich crimson hue with a gold ring edging it. It too had a 2-inch spike on one end, but unlike the other one, it had a repeating pattern of outcroppings around its edges, and at the other end, it appeared to be a grip. They were both incredibly captivating. When Naruto eventually took them out, he felt as though they were exhausting him. He let them drop quickly. When Kira notices this, she approaches them and stoops down. That, Naruto-kun, is why I told you to pick one. Just like your weights and scroll, these items work off your chakra. Now pick one please and give me the other. With hesitation, Naruto takes the red and gold one and gives Kira the silver and blue one. Kira-chan, why is it draining my chakra? It's already taken enough for about 5 kg bunshin. Remember, Naruto-kun, that during the Great War warriors didn't know jutsu. They could only channel their chakra to enhance their muscles, weapons, and items like these. Now take the jewel and place it on the backside of your opposite hand like this. It attaches as if by magic at the exact moment that Naruto placed the jewel behind his left hand over his glove. Despite his best efforts, Naruto is unable to remove it, and it continues to drain his chakra at a much slower pace. Kira held up hers and said, Relax Naruto-kun, it is just doing as it should. See, these are side weapons. They have two very useful functions. First off, they can create a 1-foot blades made entirely of chakra from the tip. Naruto saw 1-foot long and 3-inch wide blade of red energy extend from the jewel on Kira's hand straight around the spike. Kira-chan, that's not possible. Pure chakra can't be controlled that far from the body without adding some kind of motion or an elemental manipulation to keep it moving and not dissipate, he said, his words dying in his throat. You see, Naruto-kun, these jewels are made of a very special jewel called Kagiraneosite. Kagiraneosite is the secret behind all the weapons of the Great War. Even during the war, it was a rare thing to come by. Most of the weapons of the time only used small amounts and mixed it with the purest metals, like your weights and scroll. This jewel can store massive amounts of chakra and is always drawing on it, but the real amazing thing is that it circulates the energy back instead of wasting it. What you hold now is a pure stone of Kagiraneosite. So I understand that this stone is rare and that it stores chakra, but how does it create a solid blade from it? Everything I was ever taught about chakra says that this shouldn't be possible. Normally when a jutsu is used, the chakra left over just dissipates and is wasted. That is why a solid form of chakra is thought to be impossible without manipulating a solid around it to hold it together, because the amount of chakra needed to compensate for the loss would be horrendous even for the old me. These stones constantly put out and reabsorb the same energy, only losing a minuet amount. Think of it as a big circle. The energy flows clockwise out of the stone then back in and so on. Naruto was merely attempting to comprehend the notion of a stone possessing the ability to disregard the principles of chakra. Though it seemed unfeasible, he was staring at it directly. Kira says, it doesn't really flow like that, but you get the idea. This is how it is possible to make a solid blade of chakra as well as this. But before she can fully describe the blade, it retracts in a bubble that forms from the jewel's top rather than its tip eventually forms into a 3-foot diameter red chakra shield. That functions in the same manner, a lifeless Naruto questioned. Well, yes, but I thought you would be a little more impressed by this, Naruto. Kun? After everything you have told me, shown me, or taught me, I'm starting to expect just about anything from you at this point. Was Naruto's smirking response. Asshole, well, yours does the same thing. The blade had a maximum length of 12 inches. The shield is powerful, but don't go trying to block any high-level jutsu with it. This was meant for weapon battles. I have no idea of how it would hold up otherwise. As for the blade, it works just like any other, except because it is solidified chakra, it can also cut through the chakra circulatory system. Other than that, it is a good surprise attack. The speed of the release is dependent on your experience in the charge. Lastly, if you want to take it off, just cut the flow of your chakra off to that hand. Doesn't that mean that I have to keep it off whenever I suppress my chakra? Naruto. Kun, from now on I would rather you not try to hide yourself. I let you do as you like before, but you will have to face this eventually. Besides, all the changes are as your hair, eyes, and whisker marks. Personally, I think it's rather attractive. Even though Kira seemed to like the idea, Naruto was finding it difficult to accept it. But Kira-chan, what if the villagers? He asked. If the villagers try anything, they will be the ones in trouble, Naruto. Kun. Kira then softens her voice as she grasps Naruto's palm. If you really are still so unsure about this, then you could always use a henge in the village, or maybe you could try using the Dojutsu's power of planting suggestions in people's minds that they see you as normal. The only way anyone will be able to tell the difference is if they look at your face, and by that time, you will have eye contact. I don't know, Kira-chan. I will give it a try your way, but if it doesn't work, I think I may go back to suppression. I wonder if he will ever give up on these damn villagers. I could say that before I was sealed, I had nothing against Konoha. But now, I don't think I will ever trust this village, but for Naruto. Kun, I will wait to see what this village is really like. While attempting to change the topic, Naruto asked, what about the swords, Kira-chan? As Kira picked up the wrapped daisho set and gave it to Naruto, she suddenly developed a glazed expression. The swords were amazing. The only thing separating them was size. Other than that, they were identical replicas. The length of the katana, measured from the handle tip to the sheath's end, was 38 inches. With a 1-inch guard, the handle measured 7 inches in length. The black metal used for the guard and handle matched that of his scroll and weights. Thick black leather that felt almost silky was wrapped tightly around the handle. There were no seams, as with all the other artifacts he had been given. It was as though it had always been this way. The top and bottom edges of the guard were decorated with a silver stripe that featured red kanji next to the handle and blade. The sheath had the same appearance as any other, but to the touch, it seemed to pulse in response to your power. It looks to be composed of the same polished metal as everything else. The wakizashi had a 19-inch blade, a 6-inch handle, and a 1-inch guard. Everything about it, including the red kanji, was exactly like the katana. Naruto was curious about the blades because, similar to the gems, he could feel tiny amounts of his chakra being drawn into them. Naruto exclaimed, Kira-chan, these swords are magnificent. I want to know where they came from, but if you don't want to say, then I understand. Naruto may not be able to comprehend his empathic link with Kira very easily just yet, but at this point, he is able to comprehend familiar emotions and confusion. No, it's alright Naruto. Kun, it's just my first real betrayal came from these. Back in the days of the war, very few humans were respectable, to say the least. The man who forged these swords for me was my first human friend, Subeda. You see, when I first arrived here, I saw humans as nothing more than bugs. I didn't care. It was only a mission for me to help them. He was different, a kind man who I came to understand as someone who only wished for peace and looked to me to bring it about. He had lost his family before he could remember, and even lost his own wife and son to the war. By the time I met him, he was a famous weaponsmith late in his years. He was too old to get revenge, and didn't want it as far as I could tell. In memory of his family, he created one magnificent weapon after the other. I thought it was his way to get revenge, by making sure that the enemy would lose. I was charged to guard him since, in the entire world, only a handful could produce weapons with Kagiraneosite. Kira then took a moment to organize her thoughts. I spent the better part of 10 years by that man's side. Other than you, Naruto. Kun, he was the only human I have ever seen as a friend. That is, until he betrayed our side and joined the Hanyo armies, Kira said, taking a deep breath and receiving a nod from Naruto. At this point, Kira was digging her claws into the ground. They had promised to turn over the general who had killed his family so that he could kill him with his own blade. My first friend got his revenge, but at the cost of our entire camp. Even I can only do so much. Everyone was killed in the attack. I was able to decimate their army because they had no idea that I was still there after all those years, but Kira started to cry and Naruto was just wrapping her up in a tight embrace. I killed him with my own hands in my rage. After I realized what I had done, I held him. That was when he handed me those swords and said that if I didn't wish to kill anymore, he would give me the power to end the killing. Those were the last words he ever spoke to me. Kira steps backwards a little after remaining motionless in Naruto's arms for a short while. After that is when the other Biju and I came together and ended the war 20 years later. After that, I never trusted humans and began to sleep for long periods until I sensed something that needed my attention. My distrust of humans only increased when I found out about the other Biju being sealed millennia later. Naruto was able to hug her and say, "It's alright, Kira. Chan. I can't say that I can know how you're feeling, but if you want, you can always forget. If you do, maybe you can start over. You're not the Kyuubi that people called a monster. You're my Kira. Chan, and that's what I want you to be if you want." Kira could only slowly lean in for a gentle kiss after pulling away to meet his eyes. Maybe I can start over, just forget. Forget it all and really be Kira for Naruto. Kun. I want to be Kira and only Kira. Just forget. After the bell test 2 weeks prior, Naruto could have sworn someone was attempting to drive him crazy. Kakashi was almost 2 hours late for everything every day. Instead of arriving at 7 AM like the others, he and Kira started training Kenjutsu with Hayate at around 8:30 AM after the first 2 days. But eventually, Sasuke and Sakura realized the same thing, and depending on the day, they started training or sleeping in. When Naruto reunited with his team, Kira would go back to the seal and he could spend the next 5 or 6 hours going through the hell of D rank missions. Following that, Naruto would go to the Hyuga compound to carry on with Hiyashi's training in Juken. Hiyashi reported that his Juken training was going really well. 13 of the 21 kata were already under his belt, and he was picking them up quickly. He stated that he should be able to complete the kata and start the intermediate training in just 1 or 2 more months. His training with Hinata came next. Ever since Kira joined their sparring, Naruto has been astonished by her progress. Hinata improved and became a little braver each day. He was certain that the remarkable shift was being brought about by his conversations with Kira while he was doing the laundry, poker. He didn't mind. She was still a quiet, shy, likable girl. It was actually kind of pretty to him. It had been weeks since Naruto had heard someone stutter, and she no longer lowered her voice to address anyone. She would, if anything, raise it to catch his eye. When Naruto finished doing the laundry, he would go home with Kira so that she could rest in bed and he could start his shift at the hospital. It turned out that resting would extend the life of Kira's summoned body. Fortunately for the two of them, she was able to gradually draw more Yuki from the seal while she slept for some reason, as opposed to having to dissipate and be summoned. There was too much chakra required just to summon Kira once a day. It was difficult for him to determine which was worse, his hospital shifts or the D rank missions. For anyone who tested higher than the nursing level, it appears that the staff had a hazing ritual. They had rounds to complete in addition to nursing duties. Bedpans, sponge baths, trash, and any other chore no one wanted to perform are all considered nursing duties. Never has Kage Bunshin meant so much. Kira would undoubtedly erase those memories thanks to Naruto. He had no desire to recall those bedpans. Now that his nightly laundry duty with the Hyuga was coming to an end, he was eager to get a better mission. If not, just leave the bedpans alone. As the 3 genin stood in front of the venerable Hokage, they couldn't help but let their irritation show. Naruto was covered in scratch marks that he was healing with a small medical jutsu, more to stay in practice than anything else. It seemed that the smaller the wound, the longer it took to heal naturally. It seemed ridiculous that a scratch took hours, and yet a stab healed in a few minutes. Sasuke for his part was dirty and looked about ready to kill. Finally, Sakura had a perfect scratch mark right across her forehead. Naruto then asked, "Kakashi, Sensei, could that be considered cruelty to animals? As they watched the demon cat named Tora being crushed against his owner Madame Shijimi's chest. Kakashi only looked bored and said, "Be careful about what you say, Naruto. She is the wife of the fire daimyo." Thankfully, the chubby woman merely thanked them and paid for their services at the reception desk as she left. Sasuke, who was looking as emo as ever, just shrugged off another of Sakura's advances and took to looking around the office. Naruto looked up at the elderly village leader and said, "Hey, Oji. San? When can our team get a higher class mission?" Sasuke couldn't help but to silently agree as Sakura was just lightly touching the scratch on her forehead and hissing from the pain. Naruto, seeing this, moves to her and places his magic hands, as his team and Kira had named them after many healings from spars and other injuries, to the scratch on Sakura's forehead. The look on her face was almost euphoric as the pain ebbed away. "Can we have a mission with a little excitement this time? I'm sure we've done more than enough D. ranks to qualify for at least one C. rank. All we're learning now is that Kakashi Sensei likes to read his porn while we chase cats. At least he could wait until we're done," said Naruto, getting a nod of approval from Sasuke and a content sigh from Sakura. Iruka then stood up and began yelling at his former student, "Don't be a fool. The three of you are still rookie genin. Very skilled genin, but everyone had to deal with missions of this caliber. It builds the skills and character necessary for the higher ranked ones." Naruto snorted. "Gomen, Iruka. Sensei." He began smirking at the Chunin foxily, "But I fail to see how planting potatoes and pulling weeds can have anything to do with being a shinobi. Farmers, yes, but not shinobi." Sighing in exasperation, Kakashi said, "That's enough, Naruto, knock it off. You need to learn that a part of being a shinobi is having tact." The Hokage puffed on his pipe, frowning slightly. "I understand your frustration, Naruto Kun. But missions of a higher caliber demand an equal level of skill and experience that only higher-ranked shinobi can supply. You and your team are skilled, but not ready for higher-ranked missions." He took a deep drag of his pipe before pointing at Iruka and Kakashi, shinobi such as Iruka and Kakashi, whose ranks are Chunin and Junin. Not only do they have the skill required, but they have the experience to work with any shinobi I assign to their team. You three have barely been a team for 2 weeks. Kakashi has given me shining reports of your teamwork thus far, but I would prefer at least another month before I assign you a C. rank. He exhaled while sighing sagely. Mission ranks are carefully evaluated by the council and range from A to D in descending order of difficulty. He waved his pipe at the group. Having only attained the rank of genin, do you really expect to receive missions that outrank your capabilities? The Sandame asked, looking at Naruto, who was reading from his copy of Ichi Paradise Volume 2, Silver Anniversary Edition. Are you even listening? Yelled the Hokage, angry at being ignored. Kakashi rubbed the back of his head embarrassed, thinking he was going to be blamed for the book. I'm sorry, Hokage. Sama. No need to apologize for me, Kakashi. Sensei. Said Naruto, turning the page without a care in the world. I heard every word. He then looked at the Hokage out of the corner of his crimson eyes, making the people at the desk flinch. I understand what you were saying, Oji San, but I don't really agree. He pointed to his Hitai. 8 while tapping the metal. This marks me as an adult shinobi of Konohagakure, and as an adult, I can't grow in skill by doing these D. rank missions, now can I? He smirked, causing the old man to shiver at the fox like expression on his face, combined with those eyes. How am I supposed to gain experience required for the big stuff if all I do are missions that are only missions because the villagers are too lazy to do them themselves? Or should Kira-chan and I find other ways to entertain ourselves? Iruka looked at his special student before smiling in a knowing way and then blushing, thinking of what Naruto could mean when holding that book. A look that was mirrored by the Hokage because they both understood the threat, better mission or else. The old man chuckled, very well, Naruto Kun, since you put it that way, Iruka, how many D rank missions have Team 7 completed? Did they qualify for a C rank or not? Sakura and Kakashi stared at the elder Hokage while Sasuke just looked excited while smirking at Naruto. Hokage. Sama, Team 7 has completed 43 D rank missions in the last 2 weeks. said a shocked Iruka. The average team only completes 30 in a month. Very well, I shall permit you all to attempt a C rank mission normally reserved for Chunin. Ranked shinobi, he smiled around his pipe with a merry twinkle in his eyes after reading over his missions list. I am actually going to ask your team to take 2 C rank missions since they are in the same direction. The first is to escort a gentleman named Hoeto to a village just inside of Raiko no Kuni. It should be rather easy. The second is the protection of a certain individual for an extended time. Naruto at this point closed his book and looked straight at the Hokage with his normal blue eyes. A C rank bodyguard mission? Then I doubt it's some daimyo or princess we're being assigned to. Probably a businessman or caravan, I would think. The Hokage smirked and lightly chuckled. I agree. The second one certainly isn't some great lord, but the first is a respectable businessman, and both of them are definitely no princess. The elderly shinobi thought weakly. The door then opened, and an old man walked in with a sake bottle in hand and carrying a travel sack. The second one could have been mistaken for a Hyuga if not for his dark eyes and black clothing. He seemed to be in his early 50s with pale skin and long black hair. He carried himself so similar to Hiyashi, Naruto could just tell it was going to be fun. The one named Hoeto remained quiet as the sake drinker took one look at them, took a swig of the offending liquid, snorted and said, "What's going on here? They look like a bunch of wet-nosed brats." He then looked at Naruto and snorted derisively, especially the blonde one. "He looks like a joke with that hair. Choose a color. Are you guys really ninjas?" Naruto was nearly shaking as he thought, this guy has the nerve to insult me. He looks like a homeless man, and the smell of sake is making me sick. The old man got his answer in the form of several kunai thrown at his nether regions, painfully close to actually hitting, and another shattered his sake bottle. "I'd choose my words carefully, old man," Sasuke said, glaring hard. Insulting a shinobi, even a genin, is not a mistake most civilians are given a chance to repeat. Was Sakura's comment as all 3 genin lower their arms after releasing their kunai. Naruto said, "I would advise you remain sober, or at least cut back, otherwise the next shot won't miss." The old man looked horrified. "You mean that you didn't mean to hit my bottle?" Naruto just lightly smirked in a foxy way as Kira was cheering him on through the seal. "No, I didn't miss. I just grabbed a kunai without an exploding note by mistake." The old man shivered while looking nervous as he stepped away from the wall, trying not to disturb the kunai. The first man looked on unfazed as he locked eyes with Naruto. Naruto looked up at him in return, raising an eyebrow. "And our employer would be you?" "This guy, he seems familiar." The man nodded. "Yes, I would like your assistance in returning safely to my home country." The 3 genin, hearing the respect as a change from the old man, just smile and nod. "Very well, I will thank you now for your help." Looking at the Hokage, "If we are done, I will return to my hotel until we leave tomorrow morning." With that, the well-mannered man left and all 4 ninja turned to the sake drinker to await his response. Seeming to grow more confident after the other man had left, he puffed his chest out and said, "I am Tazuna, a bridge builder of ultimate renown." He then looked over the group carefully. "Until I'm safely back in my home country of Nami no Kuni, where my current project is underway, I'll expect you to protect me with your lives." After saying that, the newly named Tazuna looked to the Hokage and said, "Are you sure they can handle this?" Actually, Kakashi is a very experienced and high-level shinobi, but now that I think of it, I have a few other spare shinobi I can assign to the team since it is a double mission. The aged leader then pressed a button and asked for someone to be sent in. A moment later, Aburame Shino and Hyuga Hinata walked through the doors of the mission room. At the questioning looks from Team 7, the Hokage decides to explain. "You see, Kurenai is currently on an extended mission with other Junin, and Inuzuka Kiba is on an extended tracking mission with other members of his clan. These 2 were going to be alone for about 3 weeks doing D rank missions, but I think they could be a help to you," said the Hokage. Iruka then spoke up. "Actually, Hokage Sama, we received a request from Aburame Shibi asking for Shino to be released for clan training." The Hokage sighed. "If that is so, I can't deny it since his team is on reserve right now. It would also keep him up to date with his clan." Kakashi just sighed, thinking it was just another head to watch. Sasuke didn't care and Sakura was too into Sasuke at the moment to care. Naruto, on the other hand, walked right up to Hinata and asked, "So, you ready for a mission with me and Kira?" "Chan?" Her response was to just smile softly and say, "Of course, Naruto." "Kun, as Kira. Ni-chan really coming with us?" "Of course. Actually, this will be my team's first time meeting her too," said Naruto, getting looks from his team as they all had their own thoughts. "So I finally get to meet the infamous Kira the Dobi has been talking about. I wonder if she really is all he makes her out to be?" was Sasuke's opinion. "Oh, great. Another girl that will be after my Sasuke. Kun. Hinata I know is too obsessed with Naruto to be a threat, but this Kira will drop him in a second after seeing Sasuke. Kun. 3 girls, 2 boys, and one of the boys reads porn and has 2 of the girls after him, and the last pair is a foaming fangirl and her crush. I'm going to have to play chaperone like the teacher from Ichi. Ichi Paradise. Prom night. This will be interesting, thought Kakashi. This is my chance. Kira. Ni-chan and Naruto. Kun are going to be on a month-long mission with me. Not only can I prove to Kira Ni-chan that I'm strong enough to be by Naruto Kun's side, but I can get closer to him. Well, if that's all, you are all dismissed until 7 a.m. tomorrow, and I mean 7 a.m., Kakashi. Insisted the venerable Hokage. The group of Naruto, Sakura, Sasuke, Hinata, Kira and the 3 adults watched as the giant gates closed, cutting off their view of Konoha. Naruto looked around very intrigued. "This is the first time I've been outside the village walls," he said, eyeing the dense forest surrounding them. "I see now why they call it the village hidden in the leaves." As Kira wraps her arms around Naruto's arm, everyone in the group looks down the road and begins their first mission with a sweating bridge builder. While traveling to Rice Country, the group was making steady progress down the road as the sun began to rise above the trees. Naruto was dressed as usual in blue Anbu style pants, a tight black long-sleeve shirt, a blue flak jacket with black trim, black sandals, and of course his equipment. In addition to the supply pouch, scroll, weights, and shuriken holster on his right thigh, he also had his sword safely fastened to his back like any other Anbu. Sasuke's white shorts and blue high-neck shirt were the same. His only accessory was a tiny backpack. Sakura was carrying a tan-colored side sack while wearing her red dress with the white circle on the back. To everyone's surprise, Hinata was dressed in form-fitting black capri pants that split up to her knees and ended just mid-calf. Instead of her usual shinobi sandals, she wore black sandals that ended mid-calf for added support and appeared to have a small heel. She had swapped her baggy jacket for a thinner, black and purple one with the Hyuga symbol emblazoned on the bottom rim. Naturally, Naruto was alerted to this right away, but he concluded it was just her emerging from her shell. "I'm hoping to win Naruto Kun over to my way. Kira. Ni-chan promised to share him, but I would have to approach him directly. Is it really possible for me to accomplish this?" Kira wore a red skirt wrapped around her tight black shirt and black shorts that ended mid-thigh. Her sandals remained the same, but in place of her stockings were now black leather lead guards. She was still wearing her black trimmed crimson red flak jacket and her standard shinobi gear, with the exception of the wakizashi from the daisho set, which was securely fastened to the back of her right hip. Since both boys seemed more interested in talking to each other and the intruder, as Sakura called her, the group of travelers moved down the road, and Sakura and Hinata took to asking the older men questions about Nami no Kuni, Wave Country, Raiko no Kuni, Lightning Country, and the world in general to pass the time on the trip. All of the information Sasuke, Kira, and Naruto were getting from the adults was either taught in the academy or was common knowledge, so they started discussing jutsu styles, jutsu, and other things they could train in while on the extended mission. "So you're the notorious Kira that Naruto has been discussing. Were you not present at the academy on the day of group tasks?" asked Sasuke in a curious yet brooding tone. "Well, I was, but I was only strolling alongside Naruto Kun. That's all," Kira casually answered. Naruto simply made the decision to keep quiet and find out what other people thought of her. His team had known Kira from the academy from the moment they arrived, but they appeared to be too preoccupied with their own thoughts to say anything. Who wouldn't remember Kira? Chan? Grinned Naruto, recalling his preferred method of waking up. With the exception of Hinata, they all initially appeared surprised to see her. Let her create her own backstory. Naruto was perfectly happy with that. In any case, he wasn't entirely sure what to say if questioned. Furthermore, if necessary, there's no better way to match background stories than by mind. Link. After hearing Kira speak and observing that she lacked a Hitai. 8. Sakura made the decision to pose her own query. If that's true, Kira-san, where is your Hitai? 8, then? Only ninja of Konoha can have one, Sakura-san, Kira uttered indifferently after giving it some thought. Now that he had a Hitai. 8. Sasuke was formally intrigued. If that's true, then that means you are not a shinobi of Konoha, he said. If you are not a shinobi, why are you on this mission? When they learn this, every member of the group freezes in place and turns to stare questioningly at Kira. I was wondering about that myself, but since you seem to know Naruto and the Sandaime so well, I decided to leave it for the time being, but since you've been asked, Kakashi looked over his book and said indifferently. Kira couldn't help but think, what a pervert. As she saw the book out in the open. If nothing else, Naruto. Kun and I read them aloud or together in private. Naruto. Kun is here, which is why I am here. Together, we have received team training. I turned down the offer of a genin rank because it would have kept me apart from Naruto. Kun. I follow him everywhere in this manner. The two older men who were being escorted simply nodded in agreement. For them, it was just another guard. Kira. Nichan didn't bother Hinata, but Sakura, Sasuke, and Kakashi had different opinions and worries, saying things like, if you're not a shinobi, then you shouldn't be here. Indeed, let go of her. Let us all get Sasuke. Kun to ourselves. Exclaimed Sakura, along with her inner shit. I don't really care if you're a recognized shinobi or not. Sasuke glared at Sakura and said, if Naruto says you can handle yourself, then you're at least useful. Young lady, I'm afraid I would have to concur with Sakura. You do not belong on my team, and the only person who joined the mission I was informed about was Hinata. Whether you are friends with Naruto or not, I fear you will have to go back to the village. Kakashi closed his book and said that. At this point, Naruto makes the decision to move forward and take a position next to Kira, but before he can say anything, Kira says, since this is a non-war mission and I am neither a shinobi nor your student, you have no right to give me an order. I am a civilian traveling the same road as you, as far as you should be concerned, Kira concluded, giving all the men a full blown foxy leer that made them all shiver. Kakashi said, that may be true, but since you left the village with my team, you left without permission, after clearing his throat a few times to lighten the mood. I'm not familiar with your skills either, so I'm not sure if I could depend on you in a conflict. As he leans against a tree reading his copy of the infamous Orange Book, Naruto hears Kakashi's worries about Kira's skill and simply tells her to handle things with their mental link, saying, my skills are none of your concern, but if you need to know, myself and Naruto Kun are evenly matched in just about everything, if that tells you anything about my skills. To put it mildly, Hinata and the members of Team 7 had doubts. Kakashi had been able to see his incredible potential during the last month with the blonde powerhouse. The fact that this girl claimed to be as strong as Naruto implied that she was equally strong as Sasuke, even though he wasn't even sure which prodigy was stronger, Naruto or Sasuke. Sakura wasn't a big fan of Naruto, but she had to acknowledge from witnessing his sparring sessions with her Sasuke Kun that he was a dangerous man. She was also confident that Sasuke would humiliate the dirty blonde in a real fight. Though Hinata didn't want to question Kira, her Naruto Kun was truly remarkable. For his part, Sasuke could only remark, I highly doubt it. Despite his lack of skill, the Dobi is definitely not a coward. Someone who has never attended the academy, in my opinion, couldn't be very strong. Naruto determines that this has to end. I think Kira Chan and I are about equal in strength. My strength and speed are only marginally greater than hers. Like you, Sasuke, Kira is a better strategist and fighter overall than I am. Because Kira Chan and I complement each other rather than contradict each other, we make the ideal team. And before you ask, Kaka Sensei, Kira Chan is legally allowed to travel with us. Though somewhat reluctantly, Hinata and Sakura accept Naruto's response. As strong as Naruto? Was something Sasuke couldn't help but wonder. Since we began sparring, the Dobi has already improved significantly. I have too, but but at this point in time, my experience is the only reason I am winning our spars. I concentrate on ninjutsu, so the Dobi's taijutsu is already lethal for me. Maybe she would be just as difficult as Naruto if this is the case and she battles with him on an equal footing but is more like me. In any case, she is more helpful than the fangirl. It doesn't matter. We can resume our journey as long as she can manage herself, and the Dobi confirms this. We're squandering time simply interrogating the girl, Sasuke growled at Kakashi. Though the orange-haired girl was talking down to him, Kakashi was only mildly irritated and continued with his usual demeanor, saying, Your skills aside, I still need to see your permission to leave the village. I don't really care if you follow us, but if you are going to leave the village without permission, I have to bring you back, or I'll be in charge if something goes wrong. At the same moment, Naruto and Kira ask themselves, who does this guy think he is? He presents himself as a babysitter. How about you, Naruto-kun? The monkey did advise against flaunting those passports too much, Kira remarked via the mental link. Unless we show Kaka Sensei, we won't get going and he may even make us turn around, said Naruto. Okay, Naruto-kun. Kira let out a long sigh, reached into her bag, took out her passport, and gave it to Kakashi. This is where you get it. Let me know if you need anything else, Kira concluded in a mocking manner. How did you obtain an unrestricted passport, One of these can only be approved by a Kage. Then that implies you are listed as an authorized traveler with each daimyo and village, Kakashi said, sounding a little amazed. To strengthen national ties and find missing nin, these are only given to diplomats, dignitaries, and hunter nins. Who is this girl, exactly, to have one? I am not here to interfere with your team or mission, Kira declares as she merely returns her passport. I'm just here for Naruto-kun. If you're having issues, feel free to message Sarutobi to ask him about it, but it will just be a waste of time. Kakashi felt pressured to concur. They would travel north into Rice Country, then through Iron Country, and finally into Raiko no Kuni over the course of 3 days. Not to mention that they would have to stay overnight in Iron Country after dropping Hoeido off in Raiko no Kuni, and it would be best not to stay in that country for too long because there was another hidden village there. You are correct for the time being, but I will be inquiring about you in a message to the Hokage. If things continue as they are, it will take us roughly a week to get to Nami no Kuni to man the bridge. We can drop you off if necessary because we will be passing through Konoha in less than a half day's time on our way there, Kakashi said. The group's 8 members accepted this without question since they wanted to get away from the somber atmosphere. For a brief period, Naruto and Kira retreat slightly behind the group to converse. I guess we need to stay on our toes more around Kakashi. Sensei, Kira-chan? It isn't limited to him, Naruto-kun. It appears that Pinky is also against me. Sakura? Although she's not an angel, I doubt she could harbor animosity toward you. Perhaps. It will take a while to complete this mission, but we shall see. Who knows, perhaps I could become friends. Kira exclaimed in a mushy voice that nearly made Naruto giggle. Maybe, Kira-chan, but do you think, Think what, Naruto-kun? Do you think we will be allowed to share the same tent?
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.